watching Chris Lewis. He's done 2 run-throughs so far and has kicked with his left foot on both occasions.
I think he's likely to spend a bit of time in the forward line, Wally, rather than running around the ground today. He's a very clever forward, and I think much like Tony Lockett with Sydney last night, I think they'll use him up there.
I was just going to make the point, Trevor. He's getting a bit of abuse. I don't think Lewis's ankle's quite as famous as Lockett's groin, but nevertheless, it's been in the news this week.
What a game.
What a game last night. It was one of the best games always through the AFL finals and generally the WAFL finals. One game will stand out, and certainly that's been it last night as far as the AFL is concerned. Well, I did speak to Sam Cronje on Friday, and this is what he had to say. Sam, how many grand finals have you umpired in?
In 4, Trevor. Yeah, this year's the 4th in a row that I've had, and you know, even though it is the other 2 guys that I'm with are doing their first, it's still really important to me, and I'm really looking forward to the game.
Well, they'll be looking to set the standard as far as free kicks are concerned.
I think so. I don't think I'll start the game. It'll be interesting to see who does start the game, because usually the guy doing his first grand final will start. But we've got 2 newies, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
How's that decided, Sam, with toss of the coin?
Oh, I think it might be, or I might decide and say I'm starting. No, but I'll give it to one of the other 2 guys and we'll just see how we go.
What do you expect about this grand final, East Perth and Claremont? You've seen them in the lead-up games. What are you expecting on Sunday?
Well, I've had both sides a bit during the year, and they both are very hard at the footy, which is easy from our point of view, because if both sides are hard at the football, we know they're not playing the man, and we can just sort of let the 50-50s go a little and hopefully get the flow going, and then when that happens, it's in cruise control for us, and we can just sort of let the game sort itself out.
You've had a taste of AFL this year. Will this game be any different to some of those you've tasted in the AFL during the season?
A game like East Perth and Claremont on the weekend, with so many AFL players in it, it'll be just as fast, I think, as some of the games in AFL, and the intensity will be there because there'll be a lot of passion from both sides, especially East Perth. Haven't been there since '78. And there's even a lot of new guys at Claremont. So
who did you follow as a boy, Sam?
Oh, I can't say that. People won't be responsible with that information, so we'll just we'll leave that one.
Sammy Cronje. Fair enough. Sammy Cronje playing his cards close to his chest. At the moment, he's testing his hearing out there.
And there are 26 players in the East Perth huddle out there. Yeah. So they won't all be playing, is one thing we'll be certain of.
The national anthem will be sung by Judith Wright, and joining her will be the Padbury Catholic School. And there'll be the unfurling of the Australian flag amongst that as well. So a lot of feeling for each other. There's always been that there with East Perth. I've really enjoyed watching that over the course of the year, as my co-commentators have. They really do band together as a unit.
You're only as strong as the weakest link in the chain would have been their message, and they're not going to break that chain for anybody.
Whoops.
Devon Perry's lost the plot.
Stand by for the national anthem now.
Oh, we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The roar goes up to the big crowd here, bordering on 30,000 now. And this is a wonderful sight for the WAFL, as it was last year. And this is going to be one grand final. Well, it's quite good to see the West Australian newspaper get behind this game with their headline yesterday too. And the back page is the toss of the coin to take place. Yvette Hockey from Kalgoorlie is there to help with the toss of the coin. Won by Paul Pios. Is going to the left-hand side with the breeze, Trevor.
Yes, I think you would kick with the breeze in a grand final, because maybe it's uncertain how it will go. There's some of the Claremont support players, I think, there. And there's some terrific atmosphere at this ground already. Look at the bonding of this team. They're going to, if they do go down today, they're going to go down as one.
Did you hear the chant, East Perth, East Perth, at the conclusion of the national anthem? That's, I'm sure Claremont will be looking for a very fast start, Trevor, to take the crowd out of the game.
Yes, that's for sure, and make them and keep them quiet. It does spur you on a little bit.
So selections for the game, Trevor Sprigg.
Well, look, I'd just about like to tip a draw. I went Claremont early in the week, so I'll just stick there, but just by a kick.
I think East Perth will win, Trev. I think their height will be a decisive factor as the game goes on.
Yes, I agree. I think East Perth by a narrow margin. And I know John and Ia would be hoping that Claremont can win today. There'll be a lot of feeling down there for John at the moment. The goosebumps will be up on the back of his neck, as they would be on Ryan Turnbull's, who'll be very keen to avenge his performance last week for the West Coast Eagles against Essendon, one would think. John, who do you go for?
Trev, look, I've no doubt I'm going to go for Claremont. I think if it wasn't for their performance last week, where they really showed the ability to man up, but also have that style of game where they can blitz aside, I thought there was a great balance that they had. Look, I've been impressed with East Perth all year. I think the way Kevin Worthington hands these players, I think is quite unique. And I think also if they come through, I think they'll be thoroughly deserving of a win. But I'm going to lead towards Claremont.
Thanks a lot, John.
I reckon the teams will line up as selected. I don't think Jackamel or Graham are playing for East Perth, and I think Claremont will line up as selected as well. Each team had 5 interchange players go off the ground.
Gilbert's gone to full back to play on Gerine. Lewis is on the ground.
Yes, he's going to the forward line. Take the pressure off him early.
Silcock's got Lewis. Silcock going to Lewis now.
There's Paul Burton. I think he's not in the 21 today.
So the cat and mouse tactics of both coaches. Now they've been left with 21 aside. Colbung in the forward pocket, picked up by McGovern, and it's about to get underway.
Guard with Pios, the two captains together, and indicate they're ready to start the game.
Wherever you are around Western Australia, welcome to the grand final of 1996, live on ABC television. There's the bounce to start. Up goes Turnbull. He beats Egan for the knock. Knocked it about 10 metres forward. Picked up there in the middle by Bathiris. Loving is dumped to the ground. And the first free kick of the match going to Scott Loving. A reckless tackle applied by Spencer. Now it's going to Turnbull. Turnbull's drop punt. Clears the 50 easily. Big pack up includes Gerine. Marshall and Colbung get tangled up. Colbung stands up almost in the tackle. It comes down towards Gilbert, who gets a hand pass over the white line. Out of bounds, about 45 metres around from the East Perth goal. Early days in the grand final.
White has started at centre-half forward, Stone his opponent.
Throw in just inside East Perth's 50-metre line. The Royals quickly into attack. White up, behind him was Stone, taken off hands by Scott Edwards. This is Swan at right full forward. He was out of play. The boundary umpire was right on the spot. And this throw-in will take place about 35 metres around from the East Perth goal. In their right full forward pocket. They're kicking with the wind in the first quarter after Paul Pios had won the toss. Stone again with White. Stone did well to take front position. Claremont get it outside 50 metres, but it's about to go back. Hand pass comes across to Lyle, hooks it down towards the forward pocket. Colbung has the ball knocked away by McGovern. Another throw in at right full forward for East Perth.
A timely tap then against Sean Colbung by Andrew McGovern.
Jamie Murillo's got the job on Braden Lyle, and big one it will be.
Stone and White do battle again. It clears both players. At the back was Pyke. Diving in there is Muir. Tried to shovel it out. Very congested pack. Marshall gets a hand pass out wide. Claremont player down behind play as Ferguson hugs the white line with that drop punt. Up goes Turnbull one-handed. The ball ricochets off more players and goes out of bounds.
Scott Edwards.
Scott Edwards has played in Claremont's last 2 premiership teams. He's looking for a hat-trick of premiership medals, and he's in trouble in the opening minutes.
This time it'll be Egan and Turnbull. Egan wins front spot. Turnbull a big thump to the side of the pack. Going back is Murillo. Dispossesses Bathiris. And the umpire says too high. Rupert Bathiris. Forward of right centre wing. probing kick towards Gerine, but it's wide of him, and Gilbert takes a safe mark in defence.
Gee, not a good enough contest from Chris Gerine then.
Gales made room from the members' wing across to the outer wing. Claremont get out of defence. Gales had 2 bounces, gets the kick around Batheris down towards the centre wing. Good kick, Ridley on the end of it. Ridley was a very good player last week in the preliminary final. Gets it up towards half forward. Turnbull is there. Guard over the top. Turnbull off the ground. Close to the boundary line at left half forward for the Tigers. And that's where this throw-in will take place. East Perth with a decisive height advantage. Egan is there, 32 for Claremont, opposed by Turnbull. Egan did well. Jones has it for East Perth. He's holding the ball, surely. Good tackling by the Claremont forwards. Swan has it to Colbung. The kick back onto centre wing. It's all Claremont, but they want to hurry. Murillo did hurry. Gets it across to a teammate, and here comes Edwards' kick in towards centre half forward. Wasn't a good kick. Another chance for the Tigers. Could have been holding the ball also. Turnbull off the ground. Another chance for Claremont in the centre square, but East Perth have the numbers. Player down behind. Didn't see what happened. Hancock kicks down towards half forward. Gorsey gets tied up with Miller. Gerine leads Gilbert to the ball. Gilbert outmanoeuvres him. In comes Gorsey to lend support. Miller is there, and Gorsey puts it out of play. Throwing it left half forward for East Perth.
I don't know whether we're going to see this again or not. There it is. Greg Egan on Roger Perry. Very ordinary. White in front. Mistimed his leap though, didn't get near the ball. Pyke dispossessed. Edwards goes off the deck, back to the middle of the ground. This is Guard, good pick up. Sweeping hand pass to Murillo from the crest on right centre wing. The kick towards Green, he's in front. With him is Faithful, and Faithful was hanging on. Brendan Green, 65 metres out, crowd don't like it. Drop punt to the top of the square. Lewis in front of the back, Silcock. Comes down towards Perry. Perry gets a hand pass out wide, and away goes Barnard of East Perth. From inside his own defensive 50. He kicks to the wing on the outer side, and McGovern takes a well-judged mark, and he's away. Runs almost to the point of the square. Kick towards full forward. East Perth going back through Jones, and it's Jones with a mark or free kick in the last line for the Royals.
Wasn't a well-directed kick from McGovern. He would have had to go wide to find teammates, but there were 2 of them out in the left full forward pocket. Not a good kick either, intended for Colbung. Missed the mark. McGovern gets the hand pass back, and here come the Tigers again. Lewis on the boundary line. Play on the call. Half volley.
Means it must be out of play, yes.
Boundary throw in 52 metres out from the Claremont goal. Still no score in the grand final. We've been playing just over 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes. Spencer is there. Jones opposing him. Chance for Murillo from outside 50. Hooks to the front of the square. Players down behind play. Another chance for Claremont. Murillo again. There's no one in the goal square. Ridley going back with the flight of the ball. With him was Crow. Ridley keeps it in. No, he doesn't. Gee, it's pretty tough and tense already.
It's tough and tight and hard. Look at the crowd really enjoying this.
Oh, it's terrific.
No score in 6 minutes of play.
Jones does the ruck work. Spencer reaches over the top. Pyke kicks into Guard. Now Loving gets a hand pass upfield. Hancock, good evasion. Now finds a bit of space. Gets a kick off the side of the boot, out of bounds. And a free kick going to Stone of Claremont. No, it's going to go to Edwards. Stone gives it up. So Edwards has recovered from that heavy knock he received a few moments ago. Forward of right centre wing. Drop punt looks okay. Ridley the target. Lewis flies too early. Faithful bumped over by Muir, and Barnard clears to the outer side of the ground. It's Swan. Better judgment than Ferguson. Now watch this race. Swan. Ferguson in pursuit. Oh, well done.
Holding the ball.
Should have been holding the ball. Good pick up by Perry. Hand pass away to Lyle in defence. He kicks it upfield. Too far for Swan. McGovern pushes it out. Now Ferguson. Now Ferguson kicks it towards half forward. In front Spencer. Fisted away by Jones. Taken by Guard. Guard kicks towards Ridley. Getting in the way was Faithful. Well done. Terrific work by Faithful to clear away for the Royals.
That's intended for Hancock. Across comes Gale. Hancock took his eyes off the ball, but got back into the contest well. Murillo down behind play. Player came in very solidly.
Roger Perry.
Square up.
Yeah, no risk.
Bounces on left centre wing for East Perth.
He
Murillo.
absolutely ran straight over the top of him.
Murillo looking a little unsteady on his feet. Bounces at left centre wing. Members side for East Perth. Turnbull up, but straight down to Murillo. Took his eyes off it. Regains possession. Pyke. That's a reload kick. Not paid. Comes towards Faithful on the centre, on the half-forward line. Green has it. Green loses it. Spencer goes in on top of Jones. Bounce just outside 50.
One thing I want to say, Wally, the umpires are letting it go very well. Let the players sort it out. There's no need to over-control this game. Let the players work out their level. Well done.
About 30,000 watching the grand final of 1996. Jones wins a big thump. Chance here for Devon Perry. Backward of centre half back. He kicks to the middle of the ground, and the mark taken by his namesake, although it's not spelt the same. This is Roger Perry.
Richard Graham and Craig Jackamel have just gone down the race, Trevor.
Shocking kick. Guard marks and then interfered with. And should have been a penalty, I thought. Yeah. But they're letting it go. That's late.
Oh, gee.
Jeremy Guard, backward of left centre wing to half forward. Up in the middle, Spencer, but standing his ground is Roger Perry. And with the ankle bandages on, he gives it away to Jones. He kicks out wide. Colbung in front. McGovern's too tall there. Gets a hand pass upfield. Picked up though by Colbung. Defensively away to Perry. Kick smothered brilliantly by Guard. Crumbs come to Swan. He runs into Guard. Breaks the tackle. Gives it away to Lyle. Lyle torpedoes towards Loving. Up in front. Couldn't hold the mark. Still he goes. Scott Loving at ground level. Thumps it out wide to Turnbull. His hand pass sharked away by Ferguson. And with good judgment, he picks out Guard. Measure the kick nicely. Guard kicks to centre half forward, but nobody home. And Faithful, although he misses the mark, has got time to recover.
He's pulled off the kick, but it's out in front of Hancock. Gale in pursuit. Hancock's under pressure. He's got support, though. Crow gets the hand pass down the wing. In comes Pyke off the ground, and it lands just inside the field of play. Well, there's a few things happening that I think the umpires should be aware of. The throw-in is at left centre wing for East Perth. Members side of the ground. Still no score in the grand final, and we've played nearly 10 minutes. Turnbull, clean possession. Pulled off the ball. Should have been holding the ball. In comes Pyke. Picked up by Trovarello. Gale to Green. Green's in trouble. Gets a kick down towards half forward. Murillo. It's not Murillo. It's Muir is there with Barnard. It's socket away by Pios. Another chance for Miller for East Perth. He gets his kick ahead of Muir's tackle. Down towards half forward, and White takes the mark in front of Stone. Jeff White is 60 metres from goal. Looks towards the square. The target here is Gerine. Gilbert in front. Knocked away by Edwards. He gets it outside 50 and then gives chase. Perry is with him. Oh, well played, Scott Edwards. Sockers it up to centre wing. The only player there is Faithful for East Perth. He gets around Ferguson and chips back to the half-forward line, and Loving plays on quickly from 60 metres. Back towards full forward. Gilbert and White. Who's first back? Colbung is. First goal of the game. Sean Colbung off the ground. East Perth 1 goal straight. Claremont get to score.
Well, the crowd going absolutely wild. 10 minutes 52 it took for a score in the game. Both coaches would be absolutely wrapped in the start they'd made. There it was, the ball at Sean Colbung's feet. Andrew McGovern has done very well against him. Just one opportunity for the opportunist there, and he was able to finish off, and the chant goes up for the Royals. Look at that, 11 minutes for the first score. This is a last man standing go already.
It's not as if both sides haven't had a chance to score. East Perth inside the 50 6 times, and Claremont 5 times. But there is there, try to knock it on for East Perth. Pack develops, Miller's underneath there, and it'll be a bounce. It's not Miller, the last to get up, it's Hancock. The bounce about 15 metres, the attacking side of the centre for the Royals. Turnbull knocks it on, Ferguson's there though, sweeps it out to Spencer. Spencer, round his body, wasn't effective, but it landed with Trovarello. Pyke finishes up with it, and now a good lead from Ridley in front of Crow, 45 metres out and almost directly in front. Chance of the quick reply here, Trev.
Yes, a terrific passage of play by Claremont out of the centre, and a good hand pass to start it off from Ferguson.
It was a bit fortuitous, that kick around the body. Only went about 5 metres, but found a teammate.
The run pass was on from Don Pyke. That was the important thing.
And the delivery.
Yep.
AFL experience in that kick from Pyke that found Ridley. Listen to the crowd. They're booing Ridley as he drop punts at goal and kicks it. Scores a level. 12.5 minutes into the grand final. Todd Ridley kicks Clermont's first.
Well, the answering goal is what Daryl Panizza would have wanted after 10 minutes of the war of attrition. East Perth get the first one. And this is the way they got it. The scramble kick from Lane Spencer playing at centre-half forward. The hand pass came from Trovarello, it was, to Pyke. Terrific lead there in front of Crow. Nothing he could do about it. And the experienced AFL player kicked through the ball nicely.
And there's 10 of them in this Claremont team, 10 with AFL experience, 5 in the East Perth team. As Turnbull wins the ball down, it comes eventually to Miller. Miller gets it to Hancock, and Hancock drives towards full forward, and Gerine. With him is Gilbert. Gerine could easily have got the kick. But as Trevor Sprigg has already commented, the umpires have been consistent. So this throw-in is about 35 metres around from East Perth's left-hand behind post. They're kicking with the breeze, a fairly handy breeze in the first term. White gets it down. Good tackle on Loving. Wasn't Loving. It was on Bathiris. Here's Lewis having his first run on the ball. The kick was smothered. Lands with Miller. Touch play on, and into the ground goes Miller. Solid tackle by Nick Stone. Buried him.
Gee, an interesting situation here. Don Pyke's gone to the forward pocket, changing with Chris Lewis. So certainly one of those experienced players being in the forward line all the time for the Tigers.
Bounce of the ball favoured White. Thumps it to the 50-metre line. Shot an opportunity gone begging for Hancock. Then he got in Miller's way. Now Claremont can't control it. Green has it. Trovarello, brilliantly done, but Muir went without it. Muir comes back and ties it up. Another chance for Trovarello. Smothered by Pios. Trovarello again. Bounce of the ball.
Fierce.
There's a bit happening in there.
Oh, boy. You don't want to make a mistake, because if you don't take it away at the first attempt, they are on you. That's the Subiaco contingent.
Reggie Hampson in there.
In the right forward foreground. Bounces it left centre wing for East Perth. Turnbull wins it down again. We expect that they'll win most of the knocks. That's Lyle kicking East Perth towards the 50-metre line. White down under pressure from Stone. Gorsey close to the boundary line. That was silly. He would have been better off running it out of play. Instead, he's conceded the kick about 5 metres up the ground.
Interesting move with Matt Gorsey playing back pocket today. He kicked 3 goals in a match-winning performance last week against East Fremantle.
Bathiris squares it up, and White takes the mark. G. Stone just handed out a solid hip and shoulder to Devon Perry, and he is a ringing. White goes looking for Gerine. Can't get there, or does he? Play on the call.
Oh, he's paid the mark.
Has he?
Spilled out.
There's no risk about that. Gee, look at this. Look at this.
You be the judge.
Sam Cronje has given that decision.
Gee, anticipating.
You must hold the ball indefinitely when you're on your own like that, I reckon.
Oh, and in conditions like these too, Trev.
So Gerine to shoot for goal. 25 metres out, 45-degree angle. The East Perth full forward splits the centre. He doesn't miss too many. He brings up the Royals second. They lead by 1 straight kick. Almost 16 minutes gone in the first term.
Well, Chris Gerine will give it, that goal will give him some confidence. The first contest opportunity he let Phil Gilbert lead him to the football. The second time he worked pretty hard, and this time maybe taking his little bit of luck. Let's see if we can see it again. Well, there it was as he rolled over. A bit hard to see. Sam Cronje was on the right side of that decision. Maybe he just bounced it up a little bit and then let it drop once the whistle blew. Give him some confidence, that goal.
East Perth 2 goals straight. Claremont 1 goal straight. 16.5 minutes gone in the first quarter of the grand final. Claremont trying to get the ball out of the centre. Muir has it. Muir loses it. Chance in there for Spencer. Landed fortuitously with Trovarello. His kick was well smothered. Chance now for Lewis. Claremont have the numbers here, 2-1. Well played, Chris Lewis. That was a fair test for the ankle. Got the hand pass across to Gale. Gale finds Muir, and Claremont go forward. That's a good kick. Oh, it didn't quite carry to Ridley. Faithful did very well. Now they can go right across the ground here. Barnard is the player loose, but he's chosen to ignore that, and he comes down the centre. The Claremont forwards were run ragged then. Jones towards the outer wing. The kick has carried Colbung. Ferguson leaves his opponent and takes it over the line. Well played. East Perth had the opportunity there to set up a loose man, and Ferguson broke away from Swan off half-back to come up and make sure that Colbung didn't keep that ball in play. The throw-in is on the outer wing. Egan and Turnbull. It lands with Lyle. Neither ruckman getting a hand on it. From a position between right centre wing and right half forward, he kicks towards full forward. Gilbert did well again. Opportunity for Edwards to clear. He's done well back there in this first quarter, particularly given the heavy knock he took. And this is Egan on left centre wing.
Egan with the massive job on Turnbull today. Feeds Pyke, who brings it into the middle, too far for Murillo. Now Murillo gets a second chance. Shepherding by Muir. Barnard breaks it up though. Knocks it across towards a teammate who kicks out very wide. Puts it in front of Faithful. It came from Loving. Now Faithful from backward of left centre wing. Kicks up towards Miller. Beautiful judgment. We've got Gorsey out of the way. Now he goes looking for Gerine. Gerine and Gilbert. Gilbert got a fist to it. Back goes White towards the goal. Into the pocket though. And forced over the line and out of bounds.
Gee, Jeff White had a golden opportunity then to belt that back to the square. He was a bit undecided what to do. Just get it back to the top of that goal square and anything can happen.
Stone. Gerine brings it down to the front of the pack. Patheris was there, but he was forced off the ball. And Lewis from the back pocket kicks to half back. Loving and takes a good mark against Murillo. A very good player, Scott Loving. He's a goal kicker as well. And he's aggressive. Kicks inside centre half forward towards White. Knocked away by Stone. Socket by Turnbull. Ricochets to White. Sweeper to Swan from 25. He drills it. Cappuccino Kid says full points. They lead by 2 goals. 19 minutes in the first term.
Well, very good presence of mind that time. Slightly critical of Jeff White a moment ago when he should have got the ball back to the top of the square, but he knew what to do with this one. You'll see the big sweeping hand pass there. He saw out the corner of his eye David Swan just sitting off his opponent James Ferguson, and with the goals looking at him. They're the ones you must nail in grand finals, especially at this stage of the game. The pressure will go on later.
Ferguson went in to lend support in the marking contest, which Claremont have obviously been instructed to do to try and overcome the height deficiency as Spencer goes to full forward for Claremont. The bounce of the ball favoured Turnbull. Chance for Ridley. Sends the hand pass wide. Taken by Guard at the second attempt and is then tied up in there by Braden Lyle. And there will be a bounce on the edge of the centre square with Claremont in attack. East Perth are 3 goals straight. Claremont are 1 goal straight. East Perth kicking with the wind in this first quarter. 20 minutes gone. East Perth won the toss. Here's a chance for Muir. Just knocks Colbung over. Ridley appeared to be pulled off it. Pios took his eye off the ball. Claremont wanted it most in that contest. Again, Muir went without the ball. Hectic passage of play on Claremont's 50-metre line. Taken away by Turnbull. Gee, Swan was missed. Hand passes to Colbung. East Perth are running through the centre square. They've lost it. Opportunity now for Claremont. Perry has it for East Perth, but he's outnumbered badly. Comes to Pyke. Pyke in the direction of Spencer. Crow from behind. Chance at the front of the pack for Spencer again. Takes Jones on. Well played, Lane Spencer. Green gets it across to Ridley. Ridley from 50 metres. Miskicks badly. And it's all East Perth back in the pocket if Pios can keep it in. He does. He's got support. Props. He's going to have to come across the face of the ground. That cost him a little bit of distance, but he did it well. Barnard gets it back to Pios. Now they can go to Hancock and Loving. Gale couldn't spoil him. They needed more from Mark Gale.
Gee, he's fired up, Scott Loving.
When he kicks into Gale, comes down towards Green, who went without it, picked up by Faithful. Inboard to Hancock. He fumbles. Bit of nerves there. He recovers. And a good shepherding buys him a bit of time. The centre half forward. Too far for White. Coming down a metre was Miller. With him was Gorsey. White dives in on top of Gorsey. He's under there somewhere. Here he goes again. Little Matty Gorsey got it out to Marshall. And now Edwards. They come down the corridor, go a little wide towards Muir, and he's taken the mark at left half forward. Spencer calls for it. He's got the sit behind Crow. Almost the mark. Got his hands to it. Crow best to recover. Bumped over by Guard, though. He loses it in the tackle. In goes Guard. He's tied up by Pios. And also Barnard underneath there, 21.
Lewis was unattended in the goal square, and Guard needed to first time it.
Yes. Gee, I haven't seen a game more physical than this for a long time. The physical clashes are absolutely outstanding, and no one giving anything.
And the pace is there too, Trev. Lewis couldn't find the handle close to the white line. He's tied up in there by the Royals defenders, and it'll be another bounce.
If you see Scott Loving and David Muir in close proximity to each other, just watch them carefully. I think you'll find they'll have a crack at each other.
2 tough customers. Spencer shepherded Crow out of that. Jones tied up by Ridley. And another bounce. 3 straight to 1 straight. The kicking is accurate so far in the game by both sides.
Trovarello has gone over onto Braden Lyle.
Big pack around this bounce. Important here for Claremont. Up goes Spencer, beaten by Crow. Swan's there. Guard across his path, comes back to Jones, pulled off the kick. Ridley, good evasion around Crow and Pios. Now he snaps. Oh. Loving's in the goal square and takes the relieving mark.
It was a terrific
great
effort.
First quarter.
Loving gets the hand pass across to Barnard. Barnard kicks down towards centre wing. Leading back is Harvey, who's on the ground. Knocked away by Roger Perry to give Hancock a chance. Marshall overran the ball, but taps it to Pyke's advantage. Pyke's been constructive. Looks in towards centre half forward. Ill-directed kick that time, but Guard gave a great contest. In comes Faithful. Sweeps it wide to Jones. He needed to pick it up the first time. Gets it wide towards Lyle. Claremont have the numbers 2-1. Lyle's got rid of one of them. Gets a hurried kick in. If it goes out, he will have done well. It won't go out. So here's the opportunity again for Edwards for Claremont. Kicks back to half forward where Guard is unattended. That's 50 metres. He's deliberately held the player up.
Should have been. What do you think, Trev?
I don't think there was too much in it.
Well, he flattened him after he took the mark, which prevented him from going anywhere.
It's illegal.
Should have been a penalty of some sort, perhaps not 50, but Guard kicks in towards full forward. Lewis off hands. Gets the hand. No, he doesn't. Shoots on goal himself and kicks the goal. Claremont strike back. They're 2 goals straight. East Perth are 3 goals straight.
Well, you just couldn't get a better contest. In 24 minutes of play, not a behind scored, physical clashes, pace, real class, as you saw then with Chris Lewis. He's a very dangerous forward indeed. Resting in the forward line again now. Just look at the sidestep here. Look at that. There, balks well, breaks the tackle, and then retains composure. I guess it comes from the experience of 180 games at the AFL level.
When he was taken from the ground last week, helped off the ground, one couldn't imagine him being here today, but a marvellous recovery by Chris Lewis. An ankle injury, obviously he'd still be feeling the effects, but so far so good.
He'd have some injections.
Bounce favours Egan. Turnbull arrives late. Egan got the tap. Out wide, Harvey. Runs into Colbung and dispossessed. Crumbs to Pyke. Oh, neatly done, Don Pyke. Pulls it across his body. Murillo had to wait. He's got the mark. Hand pass over his head, perhaps not paid. Comes back to Lyle. Lyle looks out very wide. Loving again. Takes the mark. Plays on quickly. Palms off Corsi. Goes for home from 45. And there's the first behind. Cappuccino says 1 point. Big day for him down there. Cappuccino kid, the goal umpire. Scott Loving has been outstanding in this first term.
Yes, he's been the extra man up in the forward. He's playing half forward flank, but played behind the play, TJ, which has allowed Scott Edwards, his opponent, to do well at the other end.
Oh, McGovern's shocking kick back into play is wide of the mark. It was intended for Marshall. There he is. And now East Perth bring it in. Roger Perry finds Devon, and he's 50 metres out. Devon Perry, quiet so far. Heavy knock about 15 minutes ago. He kicks from 50. The drop punt on the way is a good kick. Just swings away at the last moment.
Bit of breeze there, isn't there?
Yeah, carried that away left. 20 plays 12 here. 26, almost 26 and a half gone in the first quarter. Grand final from Subiaco Oval. Magnificent crowd, splendid conditions. And that didn't look possible last night either. About 10 o'clock, it was absolutely pouring down at the beach wall.
Kings Park.
No, the beach.
I won't ask any more questions.
Where I live.
McGovern, a little undecided. He's been told to get on with it.
Now he's going to lose it. He's going to lose it.
Gee, was lucky. He's kicked in the direction of Murillo, who's outnumbered. Spoiled by Lyle. In comes Roger Perry. Murillo got back into the contest pretty well. And there will be a bounce on East Perth's left half forward flank. It's about 60 metres from their goal.
He looks about half rat power, Jamie Murillo.
He's not going well, is he? He was cleaned up very early in this quarter. Whether he's suffering the effects of that knock, I don't know.
He's now back on Lyle.
Here's the bounce, close to the boundary line. Turnbull knocks it closer to the boundary line. Batheris, no pressure at all. Kicks back towards full forward. Chance here for East Perth. Thumped towards the boundary line. Miller gets to it first. Tried to keep it in. but there will be a throw-in. Left full forward for the Royals.
To the next kick-in that Claremont have, too. They can't let Andrew McGovern do it anymore. He's got the shakes, hasn't he? He kicked one out and he's undecided what to do. I've got to get another designated kicker.
Now, the link man is Bathira, you can see left of screen there in these boundary throw-ins. Just watch his movements. He's getting the ball continuously.
Girine and Stone. Stone does best. Edwards couldn't take it. Pyke does. He's cornered. Gets the ball back towards the boundary line. That was a good kick, albeit that it landed with Swan. Another opportunity for Loving. Chips it across towards White, who, no, he misses the mark. Was well done by Egan. Devon Perry has it. Gets the ball towards full forward. It's a good effort. Telling kick. Knocked towards Colbung. Here he is again. He's missed
this one.
Gee, should have done better, really. It was a great effort back there by McGovern, who threw himself at the ball, which was at Colbung's feet, but Sean Colbung would kick most of them. It's Kevin Worthington. 3 goals, 3, the return with the wind in the first quarter for Worthington's team. I'm not sure that he'd be totally happy with that. They'd conceded 2.
Why is this boy still kicking in? Now, he's going to lose it now.
Kicks very short and finds Don Pyke in the pocket, but at least they've got the ball back in, and back it goes to McGovern. He can have a practice here. Decides to take Devon Perry on because Scott Edwards is loose on the point of the square. Beautifully weighted kick, and as Edwards took the mark, the siren sounded to mark the end of the first quarter in the 1996 Grand Final, with East Perth leading 3-3-21 to Claremont's 2 goals straight 12. The margin 9 points in favour of the Royals.
Thank you, Wally Foreman. And the crowd thrilled by the first quarter. Hope you have been at home as well, wherever you may be. Parties, I believe, all over WA today. A lot of our country centres. And in particular, hello to Dalwallinu. Hope you're enjoying the telecast of this match this afternoon. 3-3 to 2 goals, 21 plays 12. And it's going to be right down to the wire, one would imagine, Trevor.
Well, we speculated that at the start of the game, TJ. In the first 20 minutes of this game, where a point wasn't scored, it was just 3 goals to 2. No goals scored for 10.5, 11 minutes. Just a real war of attrition with the back lines on top. Kevin Worthington there talking to Jeremy Crow, suggesting that he's got to remain in front of either Todd Ridley or Lane Spencer, bring the ball to the ground. But the back lines were on top in both teams and repelling many attacks. And strangely enough, Paul Pios, the East Perth captain, had his troubles with Jeremy Gard, who was coming up the ground and working very hard. But, you know, 3-3 to 2 goals at quarter time. I don't know that it's quite what Kevin Worthington would have wanted. He would be very happy that no team has broken away, or that the opposition hasn't broken away. One of the things he had to guard against here was a fast start by the Claremont Tigers.
Let's hear what Kevin Worthington is saying to his players at the moment.
But we know that, don't we? We knew that before we come out the bloody ground. Okay, we won the first quarter in terms of the scoreboard. What we now need to do is just focus for the next 30 minutes on the second quarter. And what we need to do in the back line has been fantastic. You know, we've worked really hard. If you get caught behind and you can't get your hands to that ball, let's destroy the ball towards the boundary. Okay? The run's been good from the back line. Going back through the centre of the ground, we've been very good. We need to keep our eye on Lewis and Pyke. Okay, make sure they don't get easy possession. What those blokes will do is every time somebody gets...
Daryl Panissa talks to his charges. And with the breeze in this second term, they could cause a few problems for East Perth. Although there's been 6 scoring shots to only 2, 9 points the difference in favour of the Royals. I think he would have been hoping for a bit better somehow.
Yes, he'd be contemplating putting Matt Gauzy into the forward line, I think, because he has really struggled for goal-scoring opportunities up there. There's Matt Gauzy.
He can actually cover for Gauzy better
with
than
Green,
yeah,
who's played in the forward pocket, exactly. And can do that. It's just a matter of looking at his matchups and seeing whether or not he has got them in the right order. McGovern was good for Claremont that quarter. Gard, I mentioned. Edwards in the back half and Pyke in the midfield. And for East Perth, Faithful, terrific in the back pocket. Lyle, Loving, and Hancock on the centre wing has had an influence.
Goal scorers for both sides. No multiple goal scorer as yet. Colbung, Swan and Girine for East Perth. Ridley and Lewis for Claremont. Probably Lewis's kick at goal, one of the cleverest we've seen so far in the match. Tremendous evasion, and to straighten up and put it through was class from Chris Lewis.
That's why he's such a class player, of course. East Perth just 3 more kicks and 2 more hand passes for a 9-point lead.
Look at the hit out, Trev.
Yes, 14-6. We'd expect that, wouldn't we? There hasn't been a lot in it, though. I don't know that the taps that have come mainly from Ryan Turnbull have been really significant. It's a matter of who gets first position out of the middle.
John O'Neill's been listening to both coaches. What's the report from ground level, John?
Thanks, Trev. Well, first the East Perth camp. Kevin Worthing was quite happy the way his players performed in that first quarter. I actually felt that the sides almost performed identically. There was no doubt about the commitment. But the delivery into the forward line, I think, would give some concern to both coaches. Jerome was being countered quite well by Gilbert, although there's quite a difference in height. And I think that just reflected the way the ball had been delivered. On the other hand, Crowe was doing a fantastic job on Ridley within the high balls delivered. It was interesting, just at Swan's goal on the 20-minute mark for East Perth really sort of was the difference, where they ran it through into the forward line. He kicked well. And also it was just a brilliant effort of Lewis's, where he virtually got the ball off hands and kicked the goal for Claremont. So I think thinking along those lines, obviously the pressure up around the centre line is just going to make it hard for the delivery into the forward line. Look, you mentioned Faith. He was playing just very close to us. So I think he did a fantastic job in that quarter for East Perth. Picked a lot of balls off, especially off the ground and of his opponents. And also the other guy, Hancock, he also mentioned on the wing. So, look, it's a great atmosphere here. Lots of people getting into this game. I think the support is definitely towards East Perth way, and we're in for a fantastic second quarter.
Thanks, Johnny Ania. Second quarter live from Subiaco Oval.
The Royals start the second term with a 9-point lead. Turnbull not tapping it down effectively gives Murillo the chance to get it out of the centre. He was taken high as he kicked, and Jamie Murillo will get a free kick just backward of the centre circle.
His sixth possession. Don Pyke had 10 in the first quarter for Claremont.
Murillo going straight down the centre of the ground, using this breeze. The kick doesn't have the carry it needs, and the East Perth defence totally misjudged that. They had the numbers at the fall of that mark, or that kick, and Ridley was the player who just charged through and took it on his chest. Now, he can kick this. He will kick from 50 metres. There is a southwesterly breeze at his back. He's kicked one so far. If he kicks it, he'll become the game's first multiple goal scorer. Todd Ridley kicking at the goal at the city end. Puts it up high. It starts right and comes back and splits the centre. And that's the start to the second term that Claremont would have been looking for. They moved to 3 goals straight. East Perth are 3-3.
And all of their goals scored by experienced AFL players. Todd Ridley there with his 7th possession for Claremont. For East Perth in the first quarter, Scott Loving had 8, Braden Lyle 7, Mark Faithful 6, and Greg Jones 5. And Ryan Turnbull also had 6 possessions in the big man department, and he's really wanting desperately to get this ball forward for East Perth now.
There's the difference. Turnbull and Egan do battle again. Egan wins the tap, but straight down to East Perth. The kick to centre half forward, punched away by Stone from White. Down comes Edwards. Pyke tried to bustle his way through. Stone dives in on top of it. And another bounce. Centre half forward for East Perth. They'll be looking to get that goal back. Nick Stone, he's a tough competitor. Turnbull and Spencer back to back. Batheris through the traffic. Good hand pass in defence to Loving. He kicks inside centre half forward. Stone at the back. Nudges White underneath it. Gilbert fists away. Straight down to White. A snap round his body is a gem. Great kick, Jeff White. The quick reply from the Royals. 27 plays 18. 2.5 minutes into the second quarter.
Gee, well, I'm sure if Phil Gilbert had had some talking from his teammates here, he would have taken clean possession of this ball, because, as you'll see in the replay, he had a bit of time and he had a bit of space as well. But the quick thinking of Jeff White was absolutely terrific there. And unfortunately, we haven't got the replay of that. But good work from Jeff White and a good reply from the Royals.
So the margin is back to 9 points, as it was at quarter time. Egan and Turnbull do battle again. Egan with a run at the ball, gets it down, but not effectively. It spills wide. Pios caught by Garden, then Ferguson. And there will be a bounce towards the edge of the centre square. East Perth 4-3. Claremont 3 goals straight. Pios with 3 possessions, with 3 disposals. Egan and Turnbull. Turnbull does best. Swan uncontested. Claremont played the player, not the ball. Mark to Roger Perry. He's at right half forward. Another player with a decided height advantage over his immediate opponent in Marshall. Kicks in towards full forward. Gilbert up. White in front. Didn't have the ball. Play allowed to go on. Another opportunity in there for East Perth. Players in on top.
Gee, that should have been holding the ball. Andrew McGovern went straight down with the football then, was nailed.
Bounces about 25 metres out from the East Perth goal. Claremont finding themselves under a little bit of pressure here. Wide up, very high. Opportunity for Stone. McGovern towards the boundary line was well done. The ball deep in the pocket now. Still well within scoring distance. 30 metres around from East Perth's right-hand behind post. White and Stone will contest the boundary throw-in. Stone using his body, Turnbull over the top, down to Ferguson. Not a particularly good kick. Guard missed the bounce. This is Loving. He's been dangerous. Towards full forward, Gerine and Gilbert. Gerine did well. Gorsey flicks it out in the direction of McGovern. He needs to pick it up, and he does. And he has a teammate in Gale loose. Oh, he's dropped a sitter right on the boundary line. He regains the ball. Kicks long towards centre wing, and Muir. The ball lands just inside the field of play. And this throw-in will be between left centre wing and left half forward for East Perth.
Scott Loving's playing a double centreman role. Dean Trovarello and Jamie Murillo don't know who they should be picking up.
Turnbull won the tap, picked up by Trovarello though. Now it's Murillo from almost a standing start. He kicks to centre half forward. Jones in front of Spencer. Juggle the mark, not paid, picked up by Lewis. He goes looking for Ridley, who's becoming a bit of a danger man. Oh. And that was unnecessary too by Crow. He's going to get away with it. Todd Ridley is in form, and Crow looks to be out of touch a bit, Trev.
Yes, and it was interesting that Kevin Worthington spoke to him at quarter time.
So Ridley, who's kicked the first goal of this quarter, a chance to bring Claremont back to within 3 points. He'll shoot from 25 metres on a 45-degree angle. Fairly long run up, about 35 when he kicks. Drop punt, looks fairly straight. He likes it. Goal. He's got 3, Ridley. And the Tigers reduce that margin to 3 points again.
There's a Claremont supporter.
Yes, he is, the Premier, along with his wife there, enjoying this match, no doubt, so far.
Well, Todd Ridley shaping up as the real danger man for East Perth. And again, it was good experienced football by Chris Lewis as Jeremy Crow's coming off the ground. So the change has been made already. Roger Perry, I reckon, will go back there, and Shane Bond comes on.
Well, this is interesting kicking by Claremont. They've kicked 4 goals straight in the first quarter and a bit of the grand final. In the second semi-final against this team, they kicked 12-18. As the ball goes towards half forward, White, cleverly done, tries to knock it onto a teammate. Swan sockers it towards a central position, which was good thinking. A big pack develops. The bounce will be 30 metres out from the East Perth goal and directly in front of goal. Claremont were trying to work the ball into the pocket, but it didn't happen. There's Bond, who's just come onto the ground, replacing Crow at the other end. Stone and White again. White does best. Opportunity for East Perth. The ball comes clear. The umpire's letting it go, but he can't let it go any longer. And there'll be another bounce in the same position.
Plenty of gang tackles in this contest.
An anxious East Perth supporter in the foreground. His team leads by 3 points. 4-3 to 4 goals. Marshall goes towards the boundary line. Was good thinking. Gale having trouble picking it up. Hancock putting him under pressure. And the ball goes out of play about 45 metres around from the East Perth goal. So Claremont's still under pressure. Stone and White. White does best, decisively down to Batheris, who has the ball knocked away. Opportunity for Claremont to clear. Trovarello has it. No trip. No one laid the tackle. This is Marshall. Gets the kick in ahead of the Turnbull tackle. Turnbull put on just enough pressure, and Pios takes the mark. Standing behind guard. Plays on quickly to Lyle. It was Barnard. This is Colbung. He's on the edge of the square. Kicks high towards full forward, looking for Gerine's height. Oh, Gilbert did well. And there's a chance now for Claremont to clear. Pyke didn't have the ball. It's knocked out to Colbung, standing on his own. Shoots at goal and misses. Gee, that was an interesting situation. Pyke appeared to be wrenched off the ball.
He did have it, though. How did he get rid of it? That's the important thing. I think the umpires usually do pay holding the man, though. Well, you're right. I think Claremont have worked out this situation now with Scott Loving sitting behind the play.
Here's Pyke. Gets the ball down towards centre wing. Pios again. Yard just dropping his guard a little at the moment. Now White is loose. Gee, where's Stone? East Perth mounting an attack from the members' wing, but they've been put under pressure. White's hand pass comes unstuck. Edwards gets it to Lewis. Lewis needed to go back and find it, but he did it well. Good shepherd from Muir, gets rid of Lyle. Lewis in towards the pocket. Poor kick, but it lands with Ridley. He gets around one oncoming tackle. Hooks on goal, but hooks too much. Quick transference. Claremont first behind, coming at the 9-minute mark of the second quarter. They're 4-1, East Perth are 4-4.
Yes, the execution of the Jeff White hand pass there was very poor, and that caused the turnover.
It'll be Paul Pios to put it back into play for the Royals. He goes short to the lead of Barnard, wraps it up in the back pocket. Looking for the options. And he's going to go close to the boundary, looking for Loving. Over the top, Muir. Muir, almost at ground level, won the footy. Colbung, though, seized the opportunity. Tried to go upfield with a hand pass, couldn't do that. And a boundary throw in. Forward of right centre wing for Claremont. 6 possessions so far to Colbung. Egan reaching over the top, Turnbull. Shark by Murillo. Goes back to Gale. Through the traffic to Pyke. Been a very good player. As well mentioned, constructive. That's a good-looking drop punt. Jones knocks away from Spencer, though, and finds the white line in the right full forward pocket. Jones has been firm in defence so far.
Yeah, Spencer really hasn't made an impact, and I think Daryl Penizer will consider a switch there at some stage.
They do the ruck work now. Spencer brings it down, but straight to Roger Perry. Hand pass wildly. Green can't find a handle, and I thought kicked it out on the full. Boundary umpire didn't agree with me.
Been a lot of fumbling, hasn't there? A lot of handling errors in the pressure.
Yes, that's
maybe not
concentrating.
Pyke again. Kick was smothered. Lyle runs onto it. Behind centre half back. Brings it out the members' side of the ground. Swan and Ferguson. Ferguson's mark.
50 metres. He clipped him under the ear.
Well, that's silly play by David Swan.
Yes, well, here it is. I don't think there's any doubt about it happening.
One more, yep, one more. No, we didn't see the next one.
That's right. I think you're right. Well, he would have got away with the first bit, just holding him up. Umpire Wayne French gave that decision.
So James Ferguson to shoot from 25 metres, maybe less. Bit of an angle. Drop punt, good. Another goal to the Tigers. Claremont at 5-1-31. They hit the front. East Perth at 4-4, 28, 11 and a half gone.
Well, James Ferguson finishing off well there with the 8 of the 50-metre penalty, which is a very tough penalty to give, of course. Braden Lyle getting the ball forward. But I think there's much doubt. Don't think there's any doubt about that it happened. There it was there. The last little right push to the head as Sean Colbung comes off.
Blood rule.
And I think Worthington will be having the runner go out to David Swan as well, wouldn't you think, Trev?
Yes, he'll have to certainly be told about that.
Well, he's become something of a goal-kicking wingman during these finals, James Ferguson. That's his 4th for the final series. And he didn't have too many during the year from memory, only 13 goals for the year, and he's kicked 4 in the finals. So Jeff White now taking his turn on the ball. Turnbull goes to centre half forward. Egan's still there and having to do the lot for Claremont. Hurried kick from Swan. Down towards centre half forward. Turnbull under pressure from Stone. The ball runs towards the left half forward flank. Devon Perry comes up to meet it. He's cornered completely. He wasn't going anywhere except out of play. There's Devon Perry, one of 9 interstate players in this East Perth team this afternoon, as Turnbull gets the ball to the side of the pack. Chance there for Hancock. He tried to go through the pack, was lucky not to be penalised. Green has it. There's an East Perth player down behind play. It's Swan who's limping as Lewis runs away from the half back line, kicks towards half forward. Beautiful kick too. Pyke pushed off the ball. Play allowed to go on. East Perth have the numbers, but Claremont wanted it more. Here's Egan. Oh, brilliantly played by the big fella. Then missed kicks. Bounce is pretty important here. Jones is able to control it. Pios is loose between half-back and centre wing, and he's got room in which to run. Batheris in turn is loose at half forward, but he's overrun that offer now. No, he hasn't. Batheris moves towards the boundary line, looking a little heavy-legged. kicks in towards full forward. Chance here for East Perth. Gorsey, well done. Swept the ball away like a big broom. Got it over the line for a throw in at right full forward. Claremont of 5-1, East Perth of 4-4. The Tigers lead by 3 points, and we've played nearly 14 minutes in the second term in the 1996 Grand Final.
Well done by Gorsey. He hasn't got a lot of kicks, but he's kept Miller fairly quiet. Turnbull maybe to the side of the pack there. And Marshall clears it away momentarily. However, Ferguson, no, the backup of Lewis was good. On it goes to Marshall. Nicely done by the Tigers defence that time. Pushed as he kicked there. Coming down to meet it Egan. And close to the boundary. It's worked over finally.
There's Neil Marshall there showing more more confidence now that he's playing against Shane Bond, his West Coast Eagles teammate.
He has lifted, hasn't he, Marshall? That was a good effort then.
Roger Perry before. I think it's too strong and tall for him.
Egan does battle with White. Egan fell over. White got the big tap to the side of the pack. Batheris again, bungled out of the way by Trovarello. Picked up by Gale to Ferguson. Backward of left centre wing. He kicks it upfield, wide of Pios. Pios close to the boundary. Is forced out, was he? No, play on the call. And Spencer goes hard in on Jones, and Marshall takes the relieving mark again. Now Lewis. He's kicked to half forward. Coming down to meet it Silcock. Fists it away there from Spencer. Pyke and Silcock do battle. Silcock's hand pass picked up by Guard. He wobbles it up towards Ridley. He's in front of Perry. Now Muir. Close to the white line. Muir caught, dumped, picked up by Perry. He kicks to half-back and finds Batheris, and the Royals out of bother.
Gee, that was a great tackle back there in the back pocket. Away goes Batheris, takes Lewis on. Delayed the kick, gets it to half forward. Perry in front, taken away from him by McGovern. This is a terrific game. McGovern's hand pass sharked by Miller. Colbone knocked it to Devon Perry. Perry goes back, claims the ball. Green's body slams him into the turf. The umpire's letting it go, and there'll be a bounce just outside 50 metres. That was a torrid passage of play.
It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any harder.
Let's have another look at the tackle, or some of the tackles we saw in there. Brendan Green and Devon Perry, and down goes Devon Perry. Bang! Chance here for Claremont to clear the ball through Green. He kicked that cleverly. It just eludes Ferguson and runs out of play between left centre wing and left half forward for East Perth.
Well, the beauty of it, Trevor, it's tough, but there's no spite. And it's good, clean, tough football.
It is indeed. Hard and fair.
Chance at the back, cleared by Green for Claremont, but that's a dangerous kick in towards the centre square. Pios picks it up. The hand pass missed Miller. Too clever. Gale tidies up, puts it out in front of Guard, who's Pios's opponent. Guard runs to centre wing, kicks high towards half forward. Murillo behind his opponent, but a chance now for Claremont. Murillo has it. Oh, not sure about the kick. Yes, to Ridley. Great kick. I thought he was going to Muir. I didn't see Ridley screaming out from the goal square. To Jamie Murillo's credit, he did. And now Todd Ridley can have another shot at goal. He's kicked 3 of Claremont's 5. The others have been kicked by Chris Lewis and James Ferguson. That was a terrific kick by Murillo.
He knew he was there. He just caught him out the corner of his eye and off the left boot.
Now, southwesterly breeze blowing over Ridley's right shoulder will blow the ball from right to left. It's a good kick. Oh, what a kick from Todd Ridley. This has been a masterstroke by Darryl Panizza. He's moved Ridley to full forward for the start of the second quarter. He had a variety of players there early, including Spencer at one stage, and Ridley has now kicked his 4th goal. Claremont moved to 6-1. East Perth of 4-4.
Yes, this was the passage of play leading up to it. A hand pass from Lane Spencer, who's starting to give a contest at centre half forward now, and that kick was meant for Todd Ridley from Jamie Murillo as Damien Hancock comes off screen and Warland comes on. The kick from Ridley is true. I've just been watching Chris Lewis. I just think he's starting to feel the effects of that ankle now. Maybe the injection wearing off.
Comments from Trevor Sprigg back in the middle. White and Egan both misjudged it. Coming through Warland. It's a hand pass when tackled strongly by Gale, but picked up by Miller. He kicks it inside centre half forward. Oh, it bounced away from Gerine. Claremont there in number. McGovern turned into his own man, Gilbert.
Too many.
Too many Tigers spoiled the broth.
The lair was overflowing.
It was. Andrew McGovern finally had to kick to the safety of the white line. Stone and Turnbull. Turnbull palms it down, but Green, tackle, we're not in possession, I thought. Trovarello dives in, umpire will bounce it. Brendan Green questions the umpire about that.
Starting to come into the game a bit now, Green. I think he's a bit stiff here.
I thought he hand passed.
Was the ball tapped out of his hand?
Turnbull up, beaten there by Stone. Shark by Warland, snap at goal. Not a bad kick, just outside the square. Gerine, strong, down to Colburn, and he kicks the goal.
That's right on. Can't play on.
He paid the mark. Correct decision by the umpire. He did signal clearly that it was a mark to Chris Gerine.
Yeah, you're right.
And Wayne French can't understand what it's all about. And you'll see this here. There's no risk that he held that mark long enough.
No. Did he hold the mark?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He certainly paid the mark.
Yes, he signalled straight away before the ball slipped out, and I think it was the right decision. He should kick the goal anyway. It'll be the same result.
There'll be some noise if he doesn't.
No, Rocky Gerine can do anything.
He's kicking from 20 metres, 45-degree angle. Shouldn't be a problem. Gerine shoots and kicks it. He's got 2 for the game. The Royals strike back. They get to within 3 points of Claremont. 20 minutes gone in this second term in what's turning out to be a great grand final.
And that's the way that if East Perth can get the ball forward with Gerine just with a yard on his opponent here, and Phil Gilbert has done a terrific job. Just can't make up the space there. Great crumb from Sean Colbung anyway.
Wasn't it?
It was right in underneath. But few moves being made now. Different players coming in on the ball. Loving and Murillo in there now for Claremont and East Perth respectively.
3 points the margin. The Tigers lead. White palming the ball down. Chance for Spencer. Knocked away from him. Hurried kick by Jones. Gets to Swan in the centre circle. Loving sweeping through. Edwards couldn't get it. Socket forward by East Perth. Warland, who's just come onto the ground. Met solidly by McGovern. Oh, that's cool. That wasn't so cool. In fact, Claremont lucky not to be penalised. Hooked out off the ground by Marshall. The ball goes back towards centre wing. Miller and Trovarello. Miller with just enough pace to get away from Trovarello. Oh, back to half forward. Swan and Ferguson. Ferguson misses the mark. Gets it down to Guard. Guard's kick was smothered and down the ground he goes. Pio standing all alone. 30 metres off the play. He's Guard's opponent.
Yes, and that's a worry because East Perth will use him from there.
Now Guard goes back to pick him up. Bounces in the centre square, but towards half forward. Green with a hurried kick, just clears Loving. Opportunity for Lane Spencer, gets it to Guard, was well done. Here's Pyke, he's been dangerous. Goes long, Lewis is the target. Lewis at the back, takes the mark. Strolls to the goal line. He kicks his second. The Tigers lead by 9 points. He's worth having on the ground. There's some similarities here between the situation with Tony Lockett and the Sydney Swans last night.
Oh, look at the wincing with pain there.
Yes, Tim Johnston come on for Lane Spencer. That surprises me. Spencer's just come into the game.
He's gone into the ruck.
Yes, and that was a good work there by Chris Lewis, just getting his opponent out of the way. I think there's no risk that the injection that Lewis has had is starting to wear off, and he's now very sore. He'll have another one at half-time. 10 possessions already and 2 goals, a great contribution.
9 points in favour of the Claremont Tigers. Lewis feeding that ankle at the moment. White wins the tap, down to Miller. Miller trying to find a space through, bad hand pass. Set Loving up, good tackle, but it came back to Warland. He's kicked the centre half forward. Turnbull and Stone do battle. Neither can get it, picked up by Lyle. Check side kick up towards full forward. Gerine, brilliant. Now he dummies around Gilbert. Hooks back on goal. Magnificent kick. Played it like a rover. He's got 3 now, Chris Gerine, and that's his best.
Well, this game's got everything. It's as good a game as you'll see at Subiaco Oval this year, AFL standard and all. Just the way these players are going at it. Braden Lyle getting the ball forward. And look at Rocky. Sold the dummy to Phil Gilbert. And over the shoulder it goes from 45.
That's the goal of the game, Trev.
Great effort.
Free kicks, East Perth 6, Claremont 3 from our statistician, Stacey Haraba.
Claremont is 7-1-43. East Perth is 6-4-40. The Royals tagging Claremont through this second quarter. White gets the ball down. Taken by Bond kicks up towards half forward. Another chance for Batheris. He was taken high.
That's reportable.
Plays on quickly to Bond. Bond kicks in towards full forward. Gilbert and Gerine. Chance for Gorsey at the back. He can't control the ball. Gee, I can't get over the number of ball handling errors. It wouldn't be nerves at this stage of the game.
Pressure,
More likely the pressure.
I'm just glad Sullivan's not playing on Gilbert down there.
Gee, look at that.
Edwards was the player who went high on Batheris. McGovern has the ball at full back. Now, he's had some problems getting the ball in. He's indicating to players he wants to go further. He's got to kick it now. He's got problems. There is no one to kick it to. That's intended for Johnson. Chance at the side of the pack for Marshall. He couldn't control it. Muir gets it out. That was well done. Hooks onto centre wing. Gardner's badly outnumbered. He's a pretty talented player, but Pios doesn't lack any skill either. He gets the ball back to a teammate who kicks onto the half-forward line. Marshall has it. Gives it straight away to Loving. Loving is at 50 metres. Kicks high and long. It's a goal. East Perth are in front. Unbelievable goal from Scott Loving. But very little pressure applied on the boundary line. Darryl Panizza a little disconsolate with his back line at the moment.
Wow, that was an amazing situation. Neil Marshall had possession of the ball. I don't know how Scott Loving ended up with it. I think he just stole it from him. We'll see if we can see here. Yeah, it was just tapped away, I think.
Daylight rough.
Gilbert are into it.
No, it's Spencer, I think.
Lane Spencer.
Gee whiz, this could
And there's
develop.
left and right.
The play goes on.
Play goes on back in the middle of the ground. Oh, they're coming from everywhere. This is almost out of control here at the moment. There's a brawl going on in the goal square, and players are going to that goal square to support their teammates. But in the meantime, the free kick has gone to Bond at centre half forward. Now it's been broken up. It's erupted. Bond from the centre square. Drop punt. Turnbull will be in the pack. Fisted away by Spencer. Crow there. Going in hard was Johnston, and it's forced over the boundary. Well, Trevor was bubbling, but as I said a few moments ago, there was no spite, and all of a sudden it's certainly bubbled right over.
Well, Lane Spencer went down and told Rocky Gerine, his former teammate, I think, his fortune, and all of a sudden it erupted.
From the side, Stone, clean possession, good tackle by Turnbull. Miller poked it out. Colbone from the right full forward pocket, flattened as he kicked. It's offline anyway, out of bounds on the full. It's a grand final. It's going to be remembered as it was last year. Look at this bump. Very heavy by McGovern as he kicked. So Lewis, who was down the other end a few moments ago, wincing in pain.
Yes, as soon as East Perth got a run on, Lewis has come back on the ball.
He finds McGovern. Pyke, neat hand pass.
Whoops, watch the shepherd.
He goes across the full back line. Gerine got around Spencer then, so Pyke cuts back inboard into the corridor. Well done, Don. And he kicks towards half-back.
Rocky gave up the chase.
Trovarello feeds Lewis from right centre wing. He kicks out wide for Brendan Green, who runs onto it, trapped it nicely from a standing start. Kicks into the pocket, looking for Gilbert. Gilbert's spilled the mark. Barnard close to the white line. Gets it upfield to Faithful. Over the top. But sharked away by Gale. Good smother by Warland. Chance for Lewis.
Well done.
Paddled it back to Pyke. Pyke's kick into the pocket. Jones in the pack, and so is Lyle it is, who's taken the mark. And again,
The Claremont have upset their balance a little bit. They've got Ridley, who's kicked 4 goals now at centre half forward, and Gilbert's gone to full forward.
Hard to work that out. Loving unattended on the half-back line. Murillo gets there to stand the mark. East Perth have weathered that little attack. Loving kicks up towards centre wing. Turnbull the target, and he fists it away from Ferguson for a throw-in at right centre wing for East Perth. Turnbull is there. Johnston coming across to contest this boundary throw-in. He's just come onto the ground, giving Egan a rest. Takes front position. Miller with a good hand pass to Loving. He's been damaging. Kicks high towards half forward. Well done by Marshall. Miller runs onto it. Good tackle. Turns it over. Marshall has it, usually uses the ball well. Finds Johnston. We've played 28.5 minutes. Won't be a long quarter. The kick goes towards half forward, not a good kick. Lacked the carry it needed. And it was easily chopped off in defence. Now Loving again. Could have been an extended penalty. East Perth lead by 3 points, as they did at quarter time. Loving's stats impressive, 7-5 to 7-1. Sorry, it's 4 points. Opportunity now for Stone. He tried to keep that in, not sure the wisdom of that. It's still in. Well played, Bathiris. High tackle on Bathiris. Gee, Claremont could have done better.
They need to just keep their composure here, Claremont.
They'll go to White at half forward.
Todd Ridley.
White's running in towards the hole. Up he goes and takes the mark. That was so predictable. And now they're streaming back to the goal square. McGovern and Crow. Crow with the height. McGovern, well done. Oh, gee.
He's played well, McGovern, Trev.
He was under some pressure then, I can tell you.
Apart from his kick-ins where he's got the jitters.
Yes. That's the only problem, but his defence work has been good.
He wants to bring it in quickly this time, but he doesn't have any options.
He finally goes into the pocket. Spencer. Crowd don't like him very much. Back to McGovern. Haven't gained a lot. Lewis breaks, but he goes shorter and finds Edwards. A lot of experience here. Now a chance for East Perth to break it up. Turnbull beats Stone for it. Goes for goal and kicks it. They were fiddling, Claremont. Turnbull jumped into the gap, went straight for the big opening and put it through. 54 plays 43, close to half-time in a tremendous half of football.
Yes, and Ryan Turnbull just knew exactly what was happening here. He anticipated the zone defence. He'd sat off till the right time, and then even when he was approaching the ball, I knew that he had the goals in his sights. And he finishes off pretty well there. Claremont have surrendered a couple of goal lead here, and they've just lost their composure momentarily.
Still bewildered by the move of Ridley, Trevor. He's at centre-half forward now. He'd kicked 4 goals at full forward. There's the bounce. Up goes White. He had the run at the ball. Opportunity for Claremont to take it away. Lewis goes off the ground. Muir is pushed into the ball. Loving has it. Gets around one tackle, but not the next. Pyke appeared not to have the ball. Claremont player down. I'm not sure who it is, just off the ball. Muir it is. He gets to his feet now. There's Panizza. 31 minutes gone. East Perth will go into half-time with a handy break. At the moment, it's 11 points. They led by 9 points at East Perth at quarter time. And that's the half-time score, and another skirmish now. Swan is in there. So too is Johnston. Chris Lewis getting involved. Faithful in there. Greg Jones just breaking things up. And now players come from all over the ground. And it's all sorted itself out.
Faithful and Gauzy want to go on with it.
At half-time, East Perth are 8-6, 54.
There's going to be more here.
7-1, 43. The margin is 11 points at half-time.
They've got to separate these two huddles. That's the problem. They might have done it now. They're still good. Oh, goodness me.
Murillo was in the middle of that.
It's always going to happen.
This is a very dangerous situation now because they didn't separate the huddles, as you said, Trevor. And it's an absolute boiling point at the moment.
Now, there's a player down here.
It's at boiling point.
Oh, goodness me. There's jumpers off. There's runner.
The runner shouldn't be in there, although he was probably trying to do the right thing.
That's what you call the off-the-shoulder look.
And this will just stir the East Perth crowd.
Well, it's a team now that really settles down and gets back to their game plan. There's Braden Lyle. He's fired up.
Haven't seen scenes like this for a while, Trev.
This is the most emotion you've seen in a football game for a long, long time.
The Gladiators leave, and this game is in the balance. 54 plays 43. Claremont, the underdogs as far as the crowd are concerned, and they've stirred the emotions of this East Perth house in no uncertain terms. But their aggression has been a little bit surprising in the final round series. Would you agree, Trev?
Well, it certainly upset East Fremantle last week, and I think today on occasions in the latter part of that quarter was a bit misplaced, TJ. That was the problem, and East Perth have been able to really regroup in the latter part of that quarter. They were looking down the barrel of a couple of goal deficit, and East Perth's last 10 minutes have been terrific. When Jeff White went onto the ball, that seemed to be the catalyst for getting them right back on top and to have their 11-point lead at half-time.
Well, we've all been involved in grand finals for some time, but this certainly is one of the classics. 54 plays 43 in favour of East Perth. It's time for Australia all over. We'll be back here with the action in about 10 or 12 minutes' time. Well, would you see better highlights in any other code of football or brand of football or grade of football? I don't think so. It's the grand final of 1996. It's had absolutely everything. Pace, toughness. The umpires have had their work cut out with a brawl erupting towards the end of the second term. One of the fiercest brawls we've seen in WAFL football for many a long day, Trevor.
Yes, it is come to the ground. Yes, it is a dangerous situation, TJ. To the hoots of the crowd, it's pretty obvious that they feel that they're the instigators of the aggressive stuff, and probably in most cases they have been. The interesting thing about those highlights, TJ, is that those last 3 goals that gave East Perth this 11-point ascendancy at half-time are all absolute freak goals. Loving from the boundary line, Geraint with a snap over his shoulder, which full forwards are not really meant to get, full forwards like him.
You wouldn't see better.
Yeah, and then Turnbull, of course, anticipating that play. They were all really freak goals. They would have served to lift East Perth, as we saw.
Team lifters, aren't they?
Yeah.
As you can see there, Geraint's now got 3. Ridley 4, but moved out to centre half forward. You agree with that move of Panizza, or did he panic a bit?
Well, I don't know really that Geraint, despite his 3 goals, has really thrashed Phil Gilbert. Gilbert has knocked the ball away on several occasions, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Daryl Panizza go back to that setup with Gilbert back to fullback on Geraint, and he was forced to bring Ridley up the ground because Gilbert can't play at centre half forward. He's only a last line player as East Perth gather in the tunnel. And they're just 50 minutes, their coach would have told them, from glory and their first premiership in 18 years. And you listen to the roar as they come onto the ground.
The East Perth house erupts again. With the blue and black streamers, flags, and whatever you can find that's blue and black, you wave today, Wal.
It's like watching an AFL game, isn't it, with Fremantle or West Coast involved. The crowd's so lopsided.
But they really are right behind their club, as the Claremont supporters are too, but they're outnumbered and it's hard to beat. John O'Neill's on the boundary. It's enormous emotion down there, John. You sucking that up?
Yeah, well, it certainly is, Trev. I think the way that quarter finished too, that very much had the crowd involved. Look, there's no doubt, I think East Perth went into the half-time interval there really feeling they had the upper hand, and I think you've rightly called it. The number of goals they got, Lovings in particular, I mean, he had to almost kick that ball inside out with the wind going across the goal. It was just a freak goal. We tried to get hold of the umpires and see if there's any reports, but they won't release any of that information to the end of the game. But I really think on Claremont's behalf, I mean, they must go into the change there, feeling a little bit underdone. They had the upper hand almost till time on, and East Perth came back with a flourish. But I think you might find Tim Johnson may sort of possibly go in at centre-half forward to release Gilbert back down to full-back and play Todd Ridley out of the full forward line. I really think from Claremont's point of view, they've got to really have Ridley coming out of full forward.
They did look better like that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and also using Chris Lewis, tending to sort of do those one-on-one freakish things, because he did start to slow down, I felt, in that later part of the second quarter. But I think from East Perth's point of view, they must be feel very happy with the way that quarter finished off. It's really going to be which side knuckles down to playing footy and not carry on with what went on in that last part of the second quarter.
Could you feel the pressure cooker situation down there at ground level as Sam Cronje at the moment is talking to the East Perth group and probably alerting them to who's been reported? Did you feel that happening down there, John?
Well, I'm not sure if they really sort of say that. I think the sensible thing from an umpiring point of view, I think, is really just to have a word to the likes of Paul Pios and allow him to convey that message over to his players. I think in regard to the previous matter, I think they just let that go, and that's all sorted out at the end of the game. So from an umpiring point of view, to take the pain out of their job, you really want to diffuse it, let the team captains and a few of the senior players know, look, they're really going to be onto it, get back to playing football. Otherwise, it just becomes a real a banner for the remainder part of the game.
Some of the passages of play there, or the the incidents that were occurring would have reminded you of some of the early Claremont grand finals against South Fremantle. Were you around then?
I actually missed that one. I was in Melbourne at that time, but I mean, you know, the way I guess previously the way you beat Claremont is really just apply that physical pressure as East Fremantle have done all year, and it's really, I mean, I felt Claremont maybe initiate a bit of that spark then, so it's really up to the players now if they've got the character just to play hard footy now. If they get sucked into all this sort of behind play stuff, you'll take the focus off the game, and I think East Perth at that stage would be very much in command of today's game.
Well, the Mexican wave erupts around the ground. Thank you very much, John Anea. Trevor, you've made an observation there.
Yeah, I think you'll find that Mick Pember, the East Perth run, has been reported, and Chris Duran, I think Lane Spencer's been reported for striking him. The umpires were telling that to the East Perth huddle.
The chant goes up for the Royals again. East Perth, they lead by 11 points as we're about to move into the second half in an emotion-charged game of football. We haven't seen scenes like this at the WAFL for many a long day. It's White on the ball against Egan. There's the difference. The bounce favours Egan. Miller contested and won the knock actually there. Lyle runs onto it, backs away from Trovarello. Kicks long towards full forward. Girine up. Didn't mark. Gorsey, I thought he was taken high. The umpire said that's okay. Watch again as Girine misses the mark, and then, gee, was it the shoulders? Maybe just okay. Stone nudges Turnbull out of the way and gives away the free kick. Not a good effort then from Nick Stone.
Yeah, some frustration there.
Well, this is just what the Royals wanted after the half-time break to establish what could now be a 17-point lead. Turnbull to shoot from 30 metres, 45-degree angle. He kicked a beauty in the second term when he anticipated a move out of defence from the Tigers. Drops it onto the boot and misses. No, it swung in. That was heading for the post. He's got his second with a very good drop punt. Angled it nicely to bring up full points for the Royals.
Well, it's the start that East Perth would have needed. Let's see this free kick here. Yeah, a bit crude by Stone. He had his eye on the ball, but he knew where the player was. Getting straight into his back. There was no shepherd or anything like that there. And really a foolish move by Nick Stone, an inexperienced one.
Big job in front of the Tigers now. East Perth lead by 17 points. White wins the ball down. Lyle couldn't take it away. Pyke gets a kick to half forward. Chance for Pios. Holding the ball. Play allowed to go on. Johnston has it. Hand passes straight to Batheris. He loses it. Pyke couldn't pick it up. And there will be a bounce almost on the edge of the centre square with Claremont in attack. The main possession getters in the first half. For East Perth, Loving had 12 kicks and 2 hand passes. There's the bounce. Knocked away by White, straight to Miller. It'll land with Bond. East Perth looking good in the opening minutes of the third term. The kick towards full forward. Colbung and Gorsey. Colbung not paid the mark. He's holding the ball then.
No one was holding him.
Yeah, they had him, I think. They dragged him down. Lyle had 10 kicks in the first half. Here it is again.
Gorsey clearly had that first purchase on that. The right decision by umpire French.
Bounce at centre half forward for East Perth. Turnbull and Stone. Turnbull does best. Marshall knocks it forward. Edwards knocks it into the pocket. First to it is Bond. He's holding the ball this time. Surely tried to duck out of the tackle. Throw in at left full forward for East Perth. 40 metres around. There's Darryl Panizza. He's got some problems. East Perth have kicked the first goal in the third quarter. Oh,
gee.
Turnbull with clean possession. Claremont under all sorts of pressure at the moment. There'll be a bounce. Lyle, as I said, had 10 kicks, no hand passes. Batheris, 7 kicks, 4 hand passes. They were the only East Perth players with 10 possessions or more. For Claremont, Pyke had 16 kicks, no hand passes. Lewis had 11 kicks and 2 hand passes. Warland allowing the ball to slip through his fingers. Trovarello to the boundary line. And McGovern had 6 kicks and 4 hand passes. A few absentees during that first half. Silcock had 1 kick and 1 hand pass. Crow had 1 hand pass for the half. Hancock 4 kicks. Boundary thrown is at left half forward for East Perth. Turnbull knocks it inside 50 metres. Marshall comes to meet it, overruns the ball. Gorsey was one who didn't have big possessions in the first half. 1 kick, 2 hand passes. As Claremont get the ball around the outer side of the ground. Gilbert had 1 kick, 1 hand pass, and Egan had 1 kick and 1 hand pass.
As Guard takes a very good mark on the outer side of the ground and now brings it in dangerously. Lewis, spoilt there by Bathiris, pushed out towards Lyle. He's in the centre square. Drop punt, probing kick. Spencer in front takes the mark. He'll hold up this Royal attack. And he brings it out to the members' side to find Scotty Edwards. The move is from Gale, close to the white line, too far over. Bad kick from Edwards. Not a great deliverer of the football, Scott Edwards. Now Barnard kicks to half forward. And Bathiris working his way into this game. Drop punt. Goes looking for Girine. At the back, Spencer. Girine almost the mark. Shoveled out by Spencer. Lewis pushes it wide outside the 50 now and clears to the outer side of the ground. Guard, good mark. Juggled it, held it, back into the middle. Drop punt towards Ridley. He's the danger man as far as East Perth are concerned. At ground level now, it's knocked forward. This is Egan. Guard lost his footing, tackled by Swan. Umpire says play on. Now Pios dragged down, ball underneath him, and it'll be about 60 metres out from the Claremont goal.
Gee,
attacking the Subiaco end.
They're just not playing holding the ball today.
Very hard to get a kick. 5.5 minutes played in the third quarter. Claremont desperately need a goal. Johnston gets the hand pass to McGovern. McGovern to Pyke. Pyke looks for the options. Ridley is the target. Just carries Ridley. First back will be Loving. He'll go to the boundary line surely. Hand passes hard to Silcock, and I think the intention was to get it off that player and over the line.
Gee, I think one of the things that Darryl Peniz has got to do is bring Matt Gauzy up to the full forward line. Scott Loving there with 15 possessions because he's just not getting any crummers up there at all.
Johnston gets front position. White gets the ball down. Pyke kicks it straight up in the air. No call from the umpire. There'll be a mark paid if it was taken, if it had been taken. Trovarello has a chance. Been relatively quiet this afternoon, but tied that up pretty well. Can't get the ball clear. And there'll be a bounce just outside 50 metres. Claremont in attack. But they're really being forced to work hard for their goals this afternoon. Interesting, in the second semi-final, they had 30 scoring shots to East Perth's 21 and got beaten. Rawland was the player dragged down. And there will be another bounce in the same position. It's 55 metres out from the Claremont goal.
Just 9 free kicks to East Perth and 4 to Claremont in the first half.
White and Johnston. Johnston did pretty well. Lewis did superbly.
Played.
Fends Pios off. Kicks it goal and puts it across the face. Was a good effort from Chris Lewis.
Deserved a goal.
2 of the Magnificent 7 from memory. The Teal Cup team from the mid-80s. Lewis, I think Pios was part of that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And Yul Brenner.
There's the kick in from Pios to the outer side of the ground. Jones in front, spoiled by Ferguson. McGovern with the crumbs. He's run a long way. Sends it off to Pyke, who's cornered. Kicks hurriedly, gets good distance too. Johnston in front, missed what he needed to take. Brad Smith's on the ground, and he hits the post.
Unlucky.
Yes, Brad Smith come on to replace Nick Stone. It'll be interesting to see what Claremont are doing in the ruck here. Maybe Tim Johnston will go to the ruck. Brad Smith have a run around at centre-half forward.
15 points, leads are there. Lyle. They break across the half-back line. Barnard, Silcock in the pocket. He goes out very wide. Bit dangerous here. Johnston floats in and marks. Guard leads into the pocket. And Johnston going back. Well, he's a pretty good kick. Won't reach with that. Top of the square. Ridley's a chance. Barnard fists away. Smith just out of his reach. Faithful caught by Green. Dispossessed. Pushed out towards Trovarello. Fumbled. Comes to Ridley. Hooks on goal, but he's tugged it too far. Claremont now have stopped East Perth's run and are starting to mount some challenges, but they need to put a few goals on the board.
Yeah, so just stand and deliver a little bit, like that shot there from Todd Ridley.
Pios goes to Jones. In the back pocket. He's put it out very wide, hoping that it goes out of bounds, and it will. There's no East Perth player within 30 metres. Jim Johnston, young player with a lot of ability. It'll be Egan, though, doing the ruck work for Claremont. With White. Egan wins the tap. Marshall. Quick kick. Carries Jones at the back. It's guard. With him was Pios, but together they force it over.
Yes, Egan, of course, is running with Jeff White now, and Stone has gone back and playing against Ryan Turnbull at centre-half forward. It was Mark Gale, the player, that came off.
Egan not conceding that much height to White. Uses his body. Even Stevens there. Pyke ties up his opponent. And Sam Cronje will come in to bounce just outside the 50, with Claremont doing the attacking at this part of the third quarter. Almost 10 minutes in.
I can't see Murillo out there either, Trevor.
Forward pocket.
Forward pocket, is he? Right. As Claremont try and bulldoze the ball forward. There he is on the bottom of the pack. Jamie Murillo, number 18. East Perth tying things up at the moment. Leading by 14 points. As the kick goes forward, will land in the pocket. Ridley tried to take the one-hander close to the line. Ridley no, he can't keep it in. Gee, it wasn't a bad snap. Didn't score, but it went very close. So the throw-in.
Ridley said he was being held.
Will be at left full forward. Roger Perry on Ridley.
Who's holding who there, Trev?
Oh, 50-50. The play on was the right call.
Yep. Throw-in is about 5 or 6 metres around from Claremont's left-hand behind post. Johnston and White. White wins the ball down, knocked away by Green. Pyke with the snap-on goal. Oh, what a kick! What a kick from Don Pyke. He started his career as a goal-kicking rover with the Tigers. He's made his name in the AFL as a midfielder, the tagger of note, but this was vintage Don Pyke.
As the tap down comes from Jeff White, but Pyke onto those crumbs quickly, knew exactly where the goals were. This game has developed now into a situation where the experience of Pyke and Lewis, 21 kicks, are the thing that can bring Claremont home in this game.
21 kicks, and most of them have gone to a teammate, or he's kicked a goal. It's through the traffic, goes live, but the umpire's picked out a kick to go to Jeff White back in the middle.
Gee, why would he let it go? The advantage there.
Looked to be a big advantage. He lays it off to Colbung. Drop punt down the corridor. Miller in front, spoilt by Gorsey, and the crumbs to Edwards. Feeds Marshall. Now Pyke. He couldn't control the hand pass. Came to Lyle outside the 50. He wobbles at a flower bag. Punt up towards full forward. Punched away by the Tigers' defence, and a chance now for Ferguson to run it out. Upfield, he's got a lead from Johnston. He's in front of Jones. Jones the spoil, though, effectively, and a boundary throw in. Joe Smith there, not playing for Claremont, of course.
In fact, 2 captains out of this team. Stephen Hooper is East Perth's captain. Didn't play all year, I don't think.
That's right.
Stone at the back, wins the tap over Turnbull that time, comes down to Pyke, and he effectively puts it out of bounds again, about 25 metres upfield. Jones and Johnston. Jones missed the grand final with Swans, then West Perth, and now he's with East Perth. Can third time be lucky for him today? Egan rises high, beaten by White. Good tap to the side of the pack, but it's all Tigers. Edwards picks up, measures the hand pass to Stone, back to Edwards. They've lost 25 metres, and now a short kick finds Pyke, almost on the point of the square, into the middle for McGovern. Wraps it up, backward of the centre circle, but they're probing Claremont. They're looking for the cracks in the East Perth defence. And a little bit of East Fremantle football in this move, as Egan finally offloads a big drop punt. Johnston nudged Jones out of the way, but didn't take the mark. Underneath there, I think is...
Did the hard work, didn't he?
Well, he should have marked that. Tim Johnston.
Jones is underneath the pack. Kevin Worthington, a Claremont player in days gone by, and of course a Collingwood star. There's the mark missed by Johnston. Bounce on the 50. Up he goes, wins the tap. Comes down towards Colbung, now Silcock straight up in the air. You wouldn't want to be camped underneath that. Pios attempted to mark. Green pulls it across his body. Smith in front. Going back into him. Perry could have given away the kick. Ridley, trying to go off the ground. Tries to keep it in now. But finally it's over the line and out of bounds. That should have been a goal.
Yes, I think he did the right thing trying to soccer it. It's like Sean Colbung's at the other end previously. The ball didn't sit for him. It drifted to the left. You watch this. Oh, he just missed it.
But Smith should have got a free kick.
Boundary throw in. White thumps it to the side of the pack, and East Perth get it outside 50. Oh, well played by Egan. He's on 50. Kick straight into Bond. Another chance now for Swan to clear for East Perth, and he gets it around the outer wing. The ball cleared both Egan and Turnbull. Across comes Edwards. He gets around Turnbull, kept it in cleverly. Here come Claremont again. The ball driven towards the half-forward line. Finishes up with Lewis. Feigns the hand pass. Here's Pyke again. 55 metres out from goal. Don Pyke thought about going to Ridley. He's undecided. He knows he's beyond his own kicking distance. Now he does go short. Shocking kick, but it gets to Ridley. He can't pick it up. I think he's very tired, but no one tackled him. Here's Brendan Green. He's got an awkward bounce to contend with too. Through the traffic. Hooks high to the goal square. Swan spoiling guard. Lewis crashes through. Hooks over the shoulder and kicks his third goal. Claremont will not lie down. Wow, that's a fantastic goal. Just give the score, Trevor. Claremont a 9-4, East Perth a 9-6. The Tigers are back to within 2 points.
Well, it's just the class of Lewis and Pyke taking on this entire East Perth side. If they could pull off a victory here, it would be amazing. Pyke was instrumental in this ball coming through, but look at Lewis, so determined to do well. Could be the last game he plays in Western Australia. Could be traded at the end of the season, who knows? Been a great stalwart of football. He wants to go out with a premiership.
What a grand final. Hope you're enjoying it on ABC television. Edwards used his body on Colbung. Gives it away to Trevorello, right centre wing. Drop punt to half forward. Silcock in the front, Murillo. He's off. And kicks it towards the square. Lewis in front. Faithful behind. They work it towards the boundary. Well done again, Chris Lewis. Still he goes. Pulled away from it by Jones. Should have got the free kick. Jones's kick's a beauty, but finds Warland at half-back.
Warland on the left half-back flank for East Perth. There's an anxious East Perth bench. The kick from Warland goes down towards centre wing. McGovern up behind Loving. This is Edwards that missed McGovern with a hand pass. Gives Loving a chance. Well played, Scott Loving. Well smothered Green. And the throw-in is on the left centre wing for the Royals.
The game's lifted intensity again. Scott Loving. The East Perth midfielders looking a bit tired.
Boundary throw in, left centre wing for East Perth. Brilliant tap. Claremont towards half forward. Lyle Lamarck.
Welcome to Subiaco Oval, to one of the great grand finals in the WAFL. East Perth lead by 2 points as they go forward again. Off the boot of Faithful, into the pocket. Little Miller with him, Corsi. Corsi beats him. With me in commentary, Wally Foreman and Trevor Sprigg. John O'Neill's on the boundary. This is an emotional, charged grand final. Swan kicks to the top of the square. Crow got a hand to it. Goes off hands for a behind. It's been fast, tough. There's been fights. And it really bubbled right over just before half-time. There was an all-in brawl. Quite a few players have been reported. And there's the difference in the scores. Trevor, it's been a crackerjack grand final.
One of the best games you've seen. Damien Hancock ready to come on. And Lane Spencer gets Claremont forward.
Pios flies one hand. Now the pack develops close to the boundary as Brendan Green rushes it over. Todd Ridley's kicked 4 goals for Claremont. Lewis has kicked 3. Some of those have been magic as the big crowd looks on. And 3 goals to Chris Durine. He also has kicked a magnificent snap goal.
Boundary throw in. John Egan there, taken by Green. Hurriedly to half forward for Claremont. Brad Smith tries to knock it on. Jones is over the ball, gets away with it. Down towards centre half forward. Turnbull charges at it, trapped it brilliantly. Hooks it towards half forward. Marshall in front, was pulled high by Bond. And young Marshall takes the free kick on the half back line for Claremont. East Perth led at quarter time by 9 points. They led at half-time by 11 points. At one stage in this quarter, they were out by 17 points. The margin now is 3 points in favour of the Royals. The kick to half-forward for Claremont. Knocked on by Guard. East Perth lead back to the ball. Silcock gets there first. Did he take it out? Yes, he did. Throw in is 55 metres around from the Claremont goal.
He didn't mind that.
East Perth playing in their first grand final since 1978. That was also their first premiership. Claremont playing in their first grand final since, playing in their first, last won a premiership in 93 is what I'm trying to tell you. There are 4 players from this team here this afternoon that played, or from that team playing here this afternoon. Scott Edwards, David Muir, Brendan Green and Chris Gerine, who is playing against his old team at full forward for East Perth. Lyle gets the ball towards centre wing. Bond went without it. Turnbull soccers it off the ground. Down towards left half forward for East Perth. Wheatley is on the ground. Gets the hand pass out in front of Miller. Gorsey's off after him. Miller from 40 metres has missed. The margin is 4 points.
Well, Rod Wheatley coming on for his first run as a renowned hard-running player, finds the spaces, and I think he's East Perth's trump card. Peter Miller there just about getting the dividend from Wheatley's first passage of play. Jeremy Crow came off. East Perth have gone smaller and gone for a run.
McGovern leads. Spencer works it out of the square, made about 35 metres, kicks out very wide, so he certainly cleared the danger zone out in front of Andrew Warland. Crowd about 30 to 32,000. Been a big day for the WAFL. They're loving it. Turnbull in front, Egan from behind. He's fought gallantly, Egan, against insurmountable odds. Ooh. And a little bit of spite there close to the boundary. Hancock and Trovarello getting mixed up. Trovarello appealing to the umpire. Here it is again. Oh. Little elbow into the kidney, into the rib cage. The kidneys are up there, you've got problems. Turnbull shovels it out. Warland, Trovarello did well, ran into his own teammate, then blindly hand passes upfield, coming down to meet at Guard. Still Guard in trouble. Got a high tackle from Hancock.
Gee, the determination of Jeremy Guard, the captain of Claremont, has been exemplary today.
Probing kick towards full forward. Ridley in the pack. Jones almost the mark. Smith, the quick hands to Green. Knocked away there by Barnard. Comes down to Smith again. He's pulled off the kick. And East Perth through Lyle. Get a hand pass to Turnbull. Great tackle, I think, by Johnston it was. It comes down to Perry. He shovels it out. They're still going at full pace here in this game. It's been like this from the start as Hancock goes into the middle to Barnard. Forward of the centre circle. Drop punt inside centre half forward. Up goes Gerine. At the back was Spencer. Off hands little Matthew Gorsey. The little Wanganeen lookalike brings it away. Goes out wide and finds Don Pyke. He's been brilliant today.
Good hand pass to Ferguson. Ferguson takes them on. Cuts towards the centre square and spears the ball towards full forward. Silcock a chance at ground level for East Perth. Silcock tracks it back into the pocket. Hooks back towards centre wing. East Perth are in the van here. That was a well-weighted kick. Barnard had the sun to contend with and puts it out of play. The umpire lets it go.
Ooh, he made 2 yards going his way then. That's what saved him.
Boundary throw-in is on the left centre wing for Claremont, outer side of the ground. East Perth kicking with the breeze in the third term. The margin at the moment is 4 points in favour of East Perth. Turnbull won a decisive ruck knock. Here's Scott Edwards. He's had a good game. Kicks into the centre. Trovarello, a good mark in front of Warland. Plays on quickly to Murillo. Murillo high towards half forward, but Faithful was the only player who went for the mark. Faithful about 40 metres out from the goal he's defending. Gets it to Pios. Pios looks long towards centre wing. I think he wanted the boundary. He won't get the boundary, or will he? The ball ran on. Claremont had the numbers. It was a well-weighted kick in the end. And there'll be a throw-in at left centre wing for East Perth. Members side of the ground. Phil Gilbert with just 2 possessions or 2 disposals this afternoon. Turnbull at the second attempt. Marshall a chance for Claremont. Murillo and Marshall get mixed up. Right. Murillo brings the ball out of the pack. Pios and Guard. Pios smothered it brilliantly. Recovers it, but Silcock's under pressure. He'll give it away with a hand pass. Brad Smith is in there for Claremont. He couldn't take it away cleanly. Swan does. He's caught. Gets rid of it. Gets it onto Warland. He loses it. Ferguson has it. Gets it to Trovarello. The pressure is unbelievable. And here he is, the Iceman. Chris Lewis puts it out in front of Murillo. The shepherd will come from Johnson. With him is Faithful. Murillo takes Jones on. Kicks to the square. Ridley at the back. Takes the mark. Oh, great build-up, Claremont. Great build-up, Claremont. And Chris Lewis was the player who was frigid in the crisis.
And that's a great mark from Todd Ridley. Always had to sit behind Roger Perry then.
Well, Ridley has kicked 4 goals. They moved him out of full forward in the second quarter.
A bit lucky with the angle here.
And that was when East Perth got on top of Claremont. A goal here will put the Tigers in front. Ridley has done just that. That's his 5th. Claremont 10-4. East Perth 9-8. And if I remember correctly, East Perth were held goalless in the 3rd quarter of the second semi-final.
They were, and they've kicked 1 goal, 2 in this quarter, while Claremont have kicked 3-3. Just look at the perseverance of the players here. Trovarella and Lewis just kept on running, and they knew what he was going to do with the ball, getting it to Murillo, right half forward. And Murillo did very well too. Coming into the game now, his body strength showing. He placed that ball to perfection for Ridley.
But it's been one of about 30 passages of play today that we've seen in the best advertisement for WAFL football for many a long day. Turnbull rises high, wins the tap against Egan. Knocked up in the air then by Edwards. Coming to meet at Loving's, gone a bit quiet. Kick almost smothered, lands with Marshall, quick hands. Trovarello fumbles, Colburn closing. Evaded nicely, but run down from behind by Hancock. Spills to Edwards. He pulls it inboard. Chance for guard. Good bounce. Favoured him nicely. Now he drop punts for Ridley. No mark. Play on, says Pronya. Run out of bounds by Roger Perry. And it's on again. Perry has right hooked Ridley into the fence. Stupid football by Roger Perry. That was ridiculous. That got his...
now Murillo's gone down in front of Silcock.
That got that guy's scarf twirling anyway. Now what's Ridley going to do here?
Draws the line. Yeah, this is his routine. He's working his kick 5.
Well, he absolutely slaughtered Jerry McCrow, who's been banished to the trees. And now Ridley lines up for his 6th. This can invariably happen in grand finals. One player can emerge as a match winner. Drop punt on the way. Good kick, just offline. Cappuccino Kid says one behind. Ridley loses a bit more hair with worry. But that was silly football by Roger Perry. Why would he do that, Trev?
Well, he'd done the hard work and it was ridiculous. I don't know whether there's... On that, I think that was the reason. He thought that Ridley had run into his back.
Pios puts it back in. Perry and Edwards. Too far for both players.
Free kick.
And interference to Roger Perry. He'll take the free kick on the half-back flank. He looks a little bit worse for wear.
Roger Perry from left half-back. Kicks towards centre wing. White was the target. Stone did well to get in front. Claremont seemed to be winning the 50-50 balls on the ground at the moment. And that's allowed them to drive forward.
They've got White back at centre half forward now and Turnbull on the ball. Haven't generated the same momentum with that situation.
No, White was what got them going in the second quarter, wasn't it? Or wasn't he?
Egan's
Chance
done well.
for Pyke. Hurriedly lands with Green. Things just running Claremont's way at the moment. He kicks to Trovarello at centre half forward. It's a beautiful kick from Pyke.
They're just running them around a bit.
Green, I'm sorry. And now he goes to Ridley. Why wouldn't you? Oh, it's Brad Smith, I'm sorry. Faithful couldn't trap it. Swan to Jones. He's caught by Ridley. That's a good tackle. Lewis, great bump. Kicks on goal, but it's all East Perth back here. They needed a score. Pios takes the mark at left full back.
Now the zone, he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, he's got problems. Kicks for distance. Egan will fly from behind Turnbull. Good mark to the big fella.
That is a good mark. Ryan Turnbull, been a good player, and kicks up towards the wing. Hancock takes a good mark under pressure. And look at that. He's come up wearing a little bit of the liquid on the forehead. Been a bit of that spilt today. Out towards half forward. Guard held, I thought, by Barnard, but Colburn raving nicely. Torpedoes up towards Gerine. Into the pocket it goes. Gorsey will lead the race back. Whistle has sounded. No, Gorsey's got the kick. And The mark has been taken out there by Faithful.
With 75 metres, he'll have to kick this.
I think somebody must have had a whistle in the crowd.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Darryl Panizza coming down. I don't think he can kick a goal from out there, surely.
Got the breeze at his back. He'll kick from 55.
Well, Tony Lockett kicked a fairly important point last night for Sydney.
That was Tony Lockett. This is Mark Faithful.
Yeah, I know. His groins are okay, though. No, he won't reach. He won't reach.
That's a point.
Yes.
They knocked it through.
They did, and no one stayed in the...
They didn't know the rule, clearly.
That is unbelievable.
Look, they're questioning with the umpire.
They thought once the ball hit the ground it was over, but that's not true.
The ball has got to stop in its momentum. So one behind, right on the siren, makes it a 2-point ball game. Claremont 10-5-65. East Perth 9-9-63. That was a pretty good kick from Faithful from out there.
Yes,
he was 60 metres out.
I underestimated him, TJ, and he did a good job. I mean, the ball took the bounce that that he needed, as the East Perth match committee had all been late getting down. The quarter ended pretty suddenly, I think, for them. And Darryl Panizza's already there, ready talking to his runner, Darren Clem.
Mark Faithful with a behind. I wonder if that could be the winning margin.
Basically took the point off because it had been forced through after it hit the ground. So Claremont lead with 3 points.
Yes, thanks, John. We've just noticed the alteration to the scoreboard as play starts in the final quarter of the 1996 Grand Final. It's Marshall who wasn't able to pick it up. Miller gets the kick forward for East Perth. The Tigers start this final term with a 3-point lead. Wheatley gets it on to Loving, and East Perth should be in front. They are. Great start to the final quarter by East Perth, and Scott Loving with his second has been still thorn in Claremont's side this afternoon.
Well, he had a quiet third quarter like some of his teammates, Scott Loving, after something like 18 possessions in the first half. But Rod Wheatley, the player that's come on the ground fresh, was the player that got the ball forward here. Scrambled forward first by Peter Miller. Lucky bounce to Rod Wheatley, but he saw that Loving was streaming down the middle of the ground. And he's a very opportunistic goal kicker with Scott Loving. The start that East Perth wanted. Can it be a repeat of the second semi-final last quarter?
Up they go again. Egan and White clash in the middle of the ground. Miller bumped into Lewis. In goes Hancock. He's got a bandage around his forehead. And now back in the centre for Swan. Scrambled a kick about 20 metres downfield. Turnbull with him is Stone. Stone did very well. Edwards caught by Colbung. Hand pass fell short. Landed with Bond. Good kick. Beautiful vision. Found Miller from 50. Open goal square, but it's offline. And bounces through for a behind. East Perth have opened up with guns blazing in this final term.
And that little man, Peter Miller's the fella. He's got both the balls forward. He's determined.
He retired and has been brought back like a good racehorse. He's found form at the right time. 4 points in favour of East Perth. Spencer sizes up the options. Drop punt, good one. 55 metres from the side. White knocks it away. Chance here for McGovern. He runs onto it. Got a favourable bounce. Been a good player today. Kicks inside half forward. Up goes Johnson. With him Jones. Silcock, well done. Read it nicely. Clears away towards the wing. Swan and Lewis. Lewis, one-handed. Good ball control. Tried to paddle it back. He was bumped over. So Ferguson goes off the ground. Pios, can he trap it? Handball's in front of his body. Still he goes. Pios run down from behind by Guard. Holding the ball, the decision.
First one for the day, I think.
Just about.
Guard feeds McGovern from the middle. Long kick. Out there is Smith. Punched away by Barnard. Foot race on between Green and Faithful. Green leads and does it nicely, finessing, working in a confined space, kicks close to the white line, and Jones going back takes a finger tipper and keeps the ball alive.
Setting sun obviously a problem at the eastern end of the ground. Jones kicks back towards the half-forward line looking for White. Oh, terrific mark over the top.
He's inspired.
McGovern.
He's loved it up in the midfield.
Andrew McGovern. He will put this ball about 20 metres out, I would guess. But certainly will make life uncomfortable. Now he's got to wait for Ridley to get back in the square. Barnard won't let him go back. They need a mark here, Claremont. Murillo, the big leaper. Ferguson with the snap. Brad Smith almost the mark. Murillo wanted to soccer that, but it would have been kicking in danger. East Perth clear it away. That was well done. Good kick.
Silcock.
Well, you would have thought with the ball rolling around on the goal square like that there wouldn't have been time for someone to pick it up and think and kick with that control. But that was very cleverly done, and the throw-in is 45 metres out from the Claremont goal. East Perth are in front by 4 points. It's with Swan. He lost it and regains it. Murillo puts a big tackle on him. Down to play in the same position.
Claremont, the premiership side of the 90s. East Perth looking for their first since 1978. These two teams met in 1972. And East Perth the victors on that occasion. White knocks it down. Pack develops again. Lewis is there, bundled out of the way. And the umpire will have to separate those players. The binoculars are up. Looks like the grandstand at Ascot, Trev.
10 by 50.
Bounce favours White. Johnson there, though, to make a contest. Colbung and Pyke shoulder to shoulder. Smith doing battle. Barnard calling for a taxi. And the umpire coming in to bounce again.
Man up on Pyke and Lewis. Don't give them any latitude here.
No quarter given in this game so far. Awkward bounce. Pios and Murillo contest it. Comes down to Guard, who feeds Green close to the white line. Snaps it. Goal! Hit the post. It was a very good kick by Brendan Green.
From the left full forward pocket with the left foot on the run. Would have been a miraculous goal had he have got it.
Paul Pios to put it back into play. The lead is from Jeff White, although he's covered by Johnston. He's going to go short. Jones. Greg Jones kicks to half-back. Swan will fly close to the white line, pulls down the mark in front of Don Pyke.
Swan is at right half-back. Kicks around the boundary line towards centre wing. Turnbull the target. Gilbert over the top. And there'll be a throw-in on East Perth's right centre wing. They lead 10-9 to 10-6. They've kicked the only goal of the final quarter as Murillo comes off and Harvey goes on for Claremont. Egan and Turnbull. Turnbull makes 5 metres. Thumps the ball along the boundary line.
War of attrition at the moment, Trev.
Yes, it's a game like it started in the first quarter, isn't it? For the first 6 minutes of this quarter.
These two teams have only met twice in grand finals. East Perth have won both of them. 1936, when Jerry Dolan coached the team and Mick Cronin was the captain. And then again in 1972, when Mel Brown was the captain coach. And Burton Howell coached Claremont that year.
I was in the grand final parade in 1972 driving a car and I burnt the clutch out.
3-point margin to the Royals. Throw-in is almost on their half-forward line. McGovern got it quickly to Egan. Egan kicks to centre wing. Well taken by Guard. He was surrounded, but he gets it to Pyke. Pyke kicks inside 50 metres. Ridley the target, and Ridley the mark.
Roger Perry indicating he couldn't see that football for the sun.
Todd Ridley, with the breeze at his back, is going to have a shot. He's kicked 5 goals this afternoon. His team trails by 3 points. He will kick from 50 metres. He's on a 45-degree angle. Breeze from right to left. Started it right. It's coming back. He's kicked it. 6 goals to Todd Ridley. He's been superb up there this afternoon. And Claremont are back in front.
Well, the game's not over yet, well and truly. Just 7.5 minutes of play and a 3-point margin. But if Claremont are to win the grand final, Todd really will be hailed as one of the real superheroes. And Jeremy Guard, the captain, who gave that hand pass back to Don Pyke, they've just combined so brilliantly in the forward line. Unluckily there, Roger Perry lost it in the sun. Ridley's kick beautifully, allowed for the breeze very well.
The experience of Claremont, is that going to shine through in the last 20 minutes of this game? East Perth need to dig deep now. White knocks it down, gathered by Pyke, kicked though was smothered. Pushed towards Egan, tried to hack it out of the air. Finally picked up by Pyke, kicks to the 50, Faithful, knocked it away from Green. Lending support Johnston, tried to back away from Jones, got it away to Guard. Guard kicks upfield, but Perry reads it nicely. Took that on the half volley, wobbles at the half forward, the half back for East Perth. Picked up by Lewis, who goes for home, and he's got it. He's got 4 for the game. Chris Lewis put through a vital goal for the Tigers. 78 plays 69. East Perth now with a job ahead of them in this grand final.
Well, especially because that goal by Chris Lewis limping back to the centre will inspire his teammates. Jeremy Gard getting the ball forward again. Well done, Roger Perry, but the kick intercepted by Lewis, and he read it beautifully. He knew what to happen, ran to the 50 and delivered it beautifully. If that doesn't inspire you to come home and win the premiership, nothing ever will.
9 points the margin. The Tigers are in front. Miller out of the centre for East Perth. Kicks the ball inside 50. They're coming at it from all directions. Gorsey combines with Gilbert. Picked up by Jerome, who snaps at goal. The bounce is crucial. Loving was unattended. Bad mistake. Chris Lewis is having a word to Gilbert. Gilbert's explaining what happened. And Chris Lewis says, OK, let's get on with it.
Bit of tension there.
Oh, Daryl Panizza can't believe that would happen. Two of his players colliding.
He could go great.
It was Gorsey's mark, and Gilbert went for it for some reason.
Spencer to bring the ball in for Claremont. He'll get the whistle. Kick straight to centre back. What a kick. This is Ferguson. Gee, he's been a terrific player in the finals. And now Lewis is loose on centre wing. He'll take White on. Turns him inside out. Kicks towards Ridley again. That's a free kick almost. It comes down to Harvey. Close to the boundary line. The throw-in is 30 metres away from the Claremont goal. Well, this is Claremont's 8th grand final in the last 10 years. They've won 4 of the 7 that have been completed. Kevin Worthington, he's got some thinking to do now. His team trails by 8 points. 10.5 minutes played in the final quarter of the grand final.
They need the next goal, East Perth. Jones with it straight down to Green off the side of the boot, though. It could favour Claremont. Ridley. Chance for 7. And when the roll of the dice is going your way, that's what can happen.
It just seems to be that Claremont has slightly superior fitness. Even if Ridley kicks this goal and makes it 14 points, I wouldn't still give East Perth away. They're a great fighting spirit, and they've just got to dig deep.
Well, he's kicking from 25 metres directly in front. The crowd will be
Claremont, the crowd
against him. Ridley drop punt is straight. Another one to the Tigers. He's got 7 now, Todd Ridley. They love it in the stands. He'd be starting to feel a little bit better, maybe.
The record in a grand final, Trev, is 9 by Eric Gorman with Swan Districts in 1963. I'm sure Todd Ridley couldn't care less about records, but he's certainly kicked his team into a strong position, Trev.
Yes, and Brendan Green, who really has struggled with Mark Faithful most of the day, getting a bit of football late in this game, and you couldn't get it to a better player, Todd Ridley. Claremont have only had 4 goal kickers. Ridley's kicked 7 and Lewis 4. Ferguson and Pyke singles, but the influence of Ridley indicates that how important he's been with his 7 goals out of just 13. Turnbull's got to do something for the Royals now.
He's on the ball. They've had 1 less scoring shot than East Perth, and they lead by 14 points as the ball's knocked forward by Marshall, and now Hancock. Here's a chance for Wallen. He's 55 metres out. It's a good kick. It's a goal. It's there. It's carried the goal line. East Perth strike back. East Perth are 11-10. Claremont at 13-6. 12.5 minutes played in the final quarter, and this grand final is alive and well.
Well, it's what the game demanded, basically, and you expected it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, you did.
Andrew Walden, look at that kick from outside 50, 55 metres.
And what about the positioning of the Cappuccino? Right on the spot, wasn't he?
Yes, he had a great view of that. You could see that it carried by about 1 metre. Damien Hancock's coming off and Devon Perry back on. They're not out of it yet, the Royals.
8 points. Turnbull knows what he's got to do here. Hancock going down the race. Oh, big tap from Turnbull. He looked very determined, didn't he, before the bounce. Tovarello pushed away by Wallen. Lewis gives it away at close quarters to Green. He escapes, gets away from Bond and picks out his mate Gorsey. Like a pair of bookends, Gorsey and Green. Gorsey kicks towards the middle. McGovern is there and marks. He's been brilliant today. Inspired, goes over the top for Ferguson. Too far for him. Charging it at Silcock, and he goes down the centre of the ground. Over the head of Egan, coming down to meet at Swan. With him is Edwards, through the legs of Egan. Gives it away to Lewis, quick off the boot. It bounces to Miller, though, on the crest. He goes upfield to Loving. Danger here for Claremont. Loving uses it intelligently and finds White. White thought about going.
Look at Colburn.
Thought about it again.
It's 2-1 in the goal square for East Perth.
Now that's where he's going, but he's offline with that kick. He's going to score a behind, but I think he wanted to bring it around to the top of the square. He's registered 1 point. 14-10 gone.
I want to remind you that I took the draw in this game too, by the way.
Now Spencer's got nowhere to go.
He finally lays it off to Gilbert.
He's still got nowhere to go.
He's almost closed down by Jerome, but he got it out of the danger zone. Oh, Ferguson, courage mark. Great mark, James Ferguson. Threw himself at that. Pios coming down
again.
And that was brilliant.
Here's McGovern in the centre square. Egan is unattended. He goes by hand to Pyke. Pyke kicks high and long towards Harvey. Oh, he should have marked. He's outnumbered 2-1. Oh, tackle. Oh, no penalty.
Had to be.
Gee, you've got to umpire to the rules. I mean, you don't mind letting him go in the 50-50. John Anea with a report, I suspect, on Hancock.
Yes, thanks, Wally. Damien's in the doctor's room at the moment getting some stitches applied to the right eye. A very quick job.
Boundary throw in at left half forward for Claremont.
Here's
Lewis again. He turned into trouble. Gets the hand pass away to Green. Green's ball. Down in the full. It can't be out holding the ball. The other 10 haven't been.
No, that's right. He's in a squad of bother there.
I think it's out on the full.
He's doing it very cleverly here, Brendan Green. He's held up play nicely.
Gets to his feet. The umpire's whistle's gone. What's happened? It's Perry who's going to get the kick. Now, I didn't see what happened to Brendan Green, but Claremont missed a very good opportunity to score then when Harvey dropped that relatively easy mark. Perry kicks the ball close to the boundary line. It's taken over. Well, I would have thought it had to be a mark or a free.
That could have been a free kick then because White threw it away.
Threw it away, exactly, TJ. Well picked up. Look at this.
It's going to be a throw-in. Now, it has to be...
No, I reckon it's the right decision. He juggled one side,
that's right.
Finished at the other.
I didn't notice the juggle, so... Throw-in is at left centre wing. Egan is there with Turnbull. Turnbull reaches over the top. Swan breaks the tackle from McGovern. Here come the Royals again. He's in the centre square and no one's chasing him. I don't think anyone can. Draws the player.
Oh, no.
Gets it to Wallen. It's broken up by Ferguson. Ferguson kicks down towards right centre wing. Guard gets to it on a nice bounce. He looks towards Johnson. Johnson's at right half forward. He'll be happy if that goes out. Jones is with him. And the throw-in is at right half forward for Claremont. 16 and a half minutes played. We're beyond that point. Claremont at 13-6-84. East Perth are 11-11-77.
A few empty seats there, but the crowd 29,500. A great response to our grand final today. Lyle at close quarters. Barnard caught from behind by Harvey. Got the hand pass in. Miller close to the ground. Gives it away to Silcock. He's played a good last quarter, Silcock, but that's not a great kick. He's kicked it up to half forward, but Edwards arrives and will clear it away. Back to half forward. Harvey's there. Silcock with him. Double-fisted into the path of Green. He's recovered okay. Might have only been winded. He kicks towards the square. Ridley and Perry off hands. Chance here for Barnard. Guard throws himself in.
Well.
Did very well. That was great courage, Jeremy Guard. Now he gets it out. Danger man Lewis is there. Tries to get away from Perry. Feeds Ridley. Ridley. He's kicked 7. Ridley goes for home. He's missed.
Oh, should have done better, shouldn't he?
It's just the magic of a player like Chris Lewis that's creating these opportunities. Ridley could have just about finished the game there, one senses.
Yes.
It's still 8 points the difference. I will never, ever give this East Perth Royals team away.
18 minutes played. The kick is in the Turnbull direction. Egan will come from behind. Turnbull misses the mark. Goes off the ground as he usually does. Ferguson. Hand passes to no one in particular, but Lewis is lurking. Off it goes to Ferguson. Turns out of the tackle. Hand pass wasn't a good one. Perry took a long time to pick it up. Hurried clearing kick back to centre wing. Lands with Egan. He's got support behind him, but he doesn't realise he does now. McGovern has it. They can't chase him. Oh, there's trouble. He should go to Brad Smith. He doesn't. He goes to the square, and there's only Pios. Oh, it might be a goal. No, it's a touch. Gee, it was almost a goal. Oh. So.
Well, the crowd don't like that decision either.
Claremont are 13-8. East Perth are 11-11. The margin is 9 points. Nearly 19 minutes played. Pios brings it in. Turnbull is the target again. Egan over the top again, but this time Turnbull takes the mark.
Ryan Turnbull kicks to the members' wing. Ridley's here, coming down. White got a fist in the nick of time to that, knocked it away from Ridley. Now he feeds it out wide to Turnbull. The big men combine well. The half forward and Loving. He's got to go. Turns on a small arc. Chips to half forward for Lyle. Up he goes. Knocked away by Green. Into the path of Bond. Bond finessing. Did it very well. Over the top now for Lyle. He'll take a good kick from this pocket. It's off the side of the boot.
Good tackle.
Absolutely sensational bump.
Yep.
Stone, well, he doesn't mind delivering a few, and he got there just in time.
He's as hard as Stone, isn't he?
That was a lot.
Gilbert hasn't had a great day. Just inside the boundary in the back pocket to half back. White set, should mark. Too far for him. Didn't judge it well enough. Knocked away from Lewis by Pios.
East Perth
boundary throw in.
East Perth will just need that touch of brilliance to generate the goal, won't they? You need something special now. Maybe a player like Sean Colburn could give that, or Scott Loving perhaps.
Shane Bond.
Time clock starts to become a factor now too, as Turnbull gets it down. Bond beaten for it by Marshall. Cleverly done by Neil Marshall. Kicks to half forward. Johnston over the top. The fist was from Jones. Into the path now of Pyke. Caught by Silcock and dumped, but he got it inboard to Guard. Guard looks for Ridley. It's a good kick and a good lead. Oh, but a timely spoil from Perry. Ridley wants to go. He's caught. Holding the ball for mine. Yes, it is.
He was unlucky, wasn't he? Just lost his footing.
Yes, he was away. If he could have got around Roger Perry. And that particular tackle even could yet see the Royals get up.
21 minutes gone, almost.
Here's Perry, right full back. The margin is 9 points. If you've just joined us, we've witnessed one of the classic WAFL Grand Finals. The kick around the boundary line. Almost a marking there to Muir. Play goes on. Taken by Miller. Wobbles it to the boundary line, and Ferguson runs it over. The throw-in is at right centre wing for East Perth. Members' side of the ground. East Perth in their first Grand Final since 1978. That was their last premiership. Claremont last one in 1993. Here's the throw-in with Turnbull opposed to Johnson. Lewis perhaps a little tiredly then. And Ferguson runs it out again.
I've got a feeling that North Melbourne also are playing in their first grand final next weekend since 1978.
Yes, I think you're probably right on that one, TJ.
And if Cronulla make it in the Rugby League, it's their first since 1978.
I'll watch
work that out.
I'll watch ABC News tonight to find out.
It was a good knockdown then by East Perth. Lewis, I think, is tired. Perry misses with a hand pass, and Trovarello takes it out.
Deliberately.
Yes, players from both teams very tired.
This is where you've got to keep your discipline, though, and make sure you know where your opponent is on every occasion. Lyle and Bond are manning up there, 22 and 21.
Pyke not on the ball. Oh, yes, he is right there. Good tap down to Swan. Swan kicks high towards centre forward. Wheatley and Gilbert to the front of the pack. McGovern's overrun it. Picked up by Miller. Miller's hand pass is good to Colbung. Colbung's good to Perry. Perry goes across the top to Wheatley. It'll lead to Sid, and it does. Gilbert puts pressure on. The kick to the top of the goal square. At the back, it's Edwards. Close to the line. He got it out. Gee, Claremont a couple of times have spoiled one another back there, but they got away with it that time. Throwing it left full forward.
This is where they've got to cover all the exits, Claremont. They can't leave a player with half a metre.
Boundary throw in. Stone got up high. Pulled off the ball. Was faithful. In goes Swan. Perry. Bond it was, not Swan. And underneath all that, the crowd are just absolutely in fever pitch here. Another goal, and
so are the commentators.
The pacemakers will have to be turned off or up.
23 minutes gone, Trev.
White thumped towards the top of the square, but sharp by Lewis. Good evasion around Silcock. He kicks to half back now. Out there is Guard. Jeremy Guard pushed off the kick, and he kicks it out of bounds on the full. Silcock did well. The other end of the ground, it was Warland, brought in for Pios. Pios has got a player loose in the middle. He ignores that. Broke away, made 10 metres. They want Gerine, and they've got him. Oh, can you believe it? Who wrote this script? Who wrote this? Chris Gerine. He's kicked 3. This will absolutely turn this crowd inside out. 24 minutes gone. It'll be 3 points the difference if he kicks it. He's kicking from 40. The drop punt is pretty good. It's close. It's a goal. 4 points to the Royals. He's got 4. It comes down to maybe the last few minutes now. They've played all season for this, Trev.
Well, yes, they have. And Rocky Gerine there, just no player could get across. Paul Pios taking the chance by playing on. That's what you need to do now. Take chances and become a hero. No player could just get in the way of Rocky Gerine then to cut across the lead.
Listen to the crowd. It's unbelievable.
Well, Lewis and Bond are in the middle. Who'll be smart enough to get it out?
Claremont lead by 3 points. 25 minutes played in the final quarter. Chance for Pyke. Drives Claremont forward. Barnard should mark and does. Whoops-a-daisy. He plays on quickly. The hand pass went across to Roger Perry. He finds Walland on the defensive 50-metre line. Walland can go to Greg Jones. Johnston gets to him but too late. Jones is at left half-back. East Perth in possession. The kick high to the centre. Yeah. Pyke is there. Can't take the mark because Turnbull gave the contest. Pios is holding the ball. He lets it go. Muir crashes through the pack. Hand passes go to Green and then to Pyke. Pyke is 70 metres from goal. Pulls it back towards Ridley. Couldn't take the mark. Off the ground goes East Perth. And Barnard gets it out of play on the left half-back, or right half-back flank for East Perth.
We're coming up to 26 minutes. I reckon the quarter will go about 30. There's been 6 goals scored.
Boundary throw in just outside Claremont's 50-metre line. Johnston is there. Over the top, Jones. Taken by Guard. Hooks back towards full forward. Perry misses the mark. Off the ground go East Perth again. Will it go out? Yes, it does.
Perhaps lucky for the Royals.
Yes.
Now they've got to zone up. They've got to pick up every player.
Bit of emotion there.
Well, East Perth have got to try something here very shortly over the back.
Throw in 45 metres out from the Claremont goal.
Otherwise, this is what's going to happen for the next 2 or 3 minutes. You've got experienced players there, Don Pyke.
And this is what happened in 1978.
Yes.
Exactly the same as this.
Same position on the ground, too.
Well, you'd remember. You've been at every grand final since 1800. Pios. Lyle.
It's out.
Swan. Spoilt by Ferguson.
Free kick.
Free kick going back to Swan.
Pios is running on.
His kick to the members' wing. White sets. Bond in front of the pack, knocked out by Stone. 86 plays 83.
Listen to the crowd.
Claremont hanging on. East Perth surging forward on the members' side of the ground. Crowd at fever pitch at the moment. Turnbull behind, gets a big thump. Chance for Wallen, dispossessed and dumped. Lewis runs it over. And the umpire says throw it in.
Oh, it'd be a tough call to call that deliberate, but he didn't want to keep it in.
They edge a little bit closer. They're in between right centre wing and right half forward now, East Perth on the members' side. Turnbull, inspirational, take out of the ruck, kicks it upfield, coming down to meet it with Stone. He goes for the boundary and finds it. Been a courageous player.
That's the ruckman too, I think it's Stone.
Yes, he can't move.
Egan's down with cramp.
It's Egan, I'm sorry. Stone will have to take it, which will leave White free.
Gilbert's going to do it. So it's Gilbert against Turnbull. Turnbull, big thump, you'd expect that. Pyke, bad bounce. Knocked away there by Stone, into the path of Lewis. Hand passes away when tackled by Perry. Picked up by Bond. He hooks to the square. They want to mark. Gerine's at the back. In front, Spencer. Timely.
Oh, that could be the one.
Timely mark.
Gee, they should get Egan off the ground.
He's hurt too, Spencer.
Egan's calling for the ball, but gee.
He couldn't go for it.
No, as soon as he makes an attempt at it. Now Spencer's got no one to kick to. No one at all. He's coming in the Egan
Ferguson
direction.
will have to fly for this.
Egan's got to go. Oh, it's touched over. Gee, this is heart-stopping stuff. Claremont at 13:08.86. East Perth 12:11.83. 28 and a half minutes have gone in the final quarter of the 1996 grand final. The throw-in is at right half forward for East Perth. Devon Perry gets it to Braden Lyle. The kick goes inside half forward. McGovern and Edwards is there. That was almost a trip. It's gone out of play, but it's within scoring distance now.
Now they want a bit of magic. Tim Johnston's come up on the ball for Claremont. He's got to get in front.
Just flick it over the back.
Throw-in is 25 minutes.
Watch what White does here.
25 metres around from the goal. White to the goal square. McGovern was there. Stone has it. Feeds it out. Chance for Gilbert. Big pack. Bounce down.
Crowd are out of their seats.
25 metres out from East Perth's goal. Over 29 minutes are gone. Just 3 points the difference.
The time clock, the enemy of East Perth, but they're in their forward zone. 3 points, a goal here, a snap out of the pack would win it for them. Turnbull, he's been inspirational. Chance for Gerine, tackled by Gorsey. Hand passed away just in time. White, Wheatley, 40 out, pulls back on goal. It's sailing goal, but it won't reach. Up they go, lovely, almost the mark. Shoveled through for a force behind. That's not enough.
Heavens above.
86.
How would you be if you're a coach?
86 plays 84.
I have never seen a game on such an emotional high the whole way through as this one.
I hope they're watching from the Sunday paper, who didn't give it a spot on the back page today.
Yeah, amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Edwards has taken the mark. He's holding them up. The time clock running down. 30 and a half gone. It must be very close to full time here. Claremont have hung on very determinedly. At the back, Jones knocks away. This could be the last blast of the blasted bugler. He hand passed up in the air, Miller. Pios got rid of it in a hurry. Guard's got it. He hand passed out in front of Trovarello. Knocked away by Silcock. Now Claremont have got it up the right end as far as they're concerned. Silcock bundled out of bounds. Trovarello working in a confined space. He's in a tent.
I think they've held on now, Claremont.
Peniza, no fingernails.
They should have held on now. It's 31 minutes gone.
6 goals kicked in total.
Jones caught. Hand passes upfield. Lyle is there. But Muir did enough to force the boundary throw in.
They'd take at least 30 seconds to get it up there now.
Just 2 points the margin. 31 minutes, 20-odd seconds played. Boundary throw in, Egan up high, but it comes straight down to Faithful to Miller. Pulled off the kick. Could this be the last chance for East Perth? Stone traps the bouncing ball. Gets it away coolly to Trovarello. And Trovarello kicks towards full forward, but Pios. There it is. There's the siren. Claremont have won an amazing grand final. And the East Perth players are distraught as Claremont celebrate. They have won the 1996 grand final. 13 goals, 8, 86 to East Perth, 12 goals, 12, 84. There's Daryl Peniza, the victorious coach.
The pressure's off.